Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow, the only show here on the John Roca Outlaw Nation YouTube channel that breaks down the previous week in all things movie trivia Schmoedown. My name is John Barr. I am one of your three lovely hosts doing this show alongside two incredible people, starting with the gentleman here on my right. Boggs, how you doing today, dude?
I'm good. I don't know about incredible, but I'm here. Another good week leading up to Spectacular. Can't wait for that. And yeah, all good, man. And we've got great guests on. Lovely to spend time with you guys as per usual. So yeah, let's get into it.
That's right. It's always lovely to be here with you, and it's also always lovely to be here with Soul, our other wonderful host. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Always a good week to hang out with you guys, and I'm prepared for Paige right here with my Boston gear.
Wondered what that was.
Well, that's right. Paige is going to be one of our wonderful guests. We got two wonderful guests and even perhaps a surprise coming up a little bit later in the show. But before we get into all that, I have to remind y'all, if you're here, thank you so much. We really appreciate you watching. There are a couple different ways you can support us as well if you feel so inclined. First of all, of course, just subscribing to the YouTube channel. That's huge. Joining the Patreon at the link right up there, patreon.com/JohnRoca. All kinds of fun stuff you can get up to over there. We also accept Streamlabs and super chats that we can read out during the show if you're able to. If not, no worries. We also love to read out comments as they come in live over on that little sidebar, so you can just comment along with the show. We might shout you out, just like we like to shout out YouTube comments, the old classic standard underneath the video from the previous week's episode. Once we are no longer live, we read them out up top. And Soul, that honor is, of course, yours. What did the people have to say to us about last week's great show?
Well, first off, we have Chris Taylor saying, fun show. Thank you, Chris. Glad that you're watching.
Simple, elegant, to the point.
Yeah.
Very sensible.
Easy. And we have Jeremy Miller. Another fun show with Chandru. Curious to see what happens with the free-for-all shot. We are also curious.
Very.
And then we have Joey Steelers. With so many matches recorded earlier, I'm always left wondering if Chandru already played Mike and it's just a smokescreen.
Hey, time is all made, technically. So who could say for sure?
And those are all the comments from last week.
There we go. Fair enough. Well, we appreciate every single one of them. Thank you for commenting, and we hope you feel so inclined to do so again as we talk about 4 incredible matches. But before we talk about these 4 incredible matches, let's say we get a 4th incredible person on here to help us talk about these incredible matches. Folks, we have here one of the cornerstones of the Schmoedown fan community. He has been very gracious to join us a multitude of times before, and we're so happy to have him back to talk about some more matches. Everyone, please make some noise for the lovely NerdChronic.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
How you doing, dude?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me, as always. I'm always happy to be here. Yeah, it's been a big week and a lot of developments. So this is the first show I've been on, since all the shakeups and everything. So it's been it's very nice to be here with you guys.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I wanted to ask kind of like how you're feeling generally, if you've been able to get yourself some nice, good, solid rest. I also wanted to ask what's going on with those figurines down behind you, because it seems like one of them might be like a soldier man, but then at least a couple of them are in more martial arts fighting stances, let's say.
Yeah, they're martial arts like monk figures. I took martial arts for several years when I was in high school. So when I got my brown belt, which was like one away from black belt, my family got me these as like a little gift.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that they have their nice own little shelf there as well.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, although they're very heavy, so I'm glad they never fell over on me when I was sleeping on all the earthquakes we had.
That's fair. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, I think they also say like, oh, if you're in California, you shouldn't have your bed close to a window for earthquake. It's been next to a window since day one. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, obviously kind of 4 big matches that we're going to be talking about. I wanted to know if going into this week, there was any match that you were like especially excited to see, or any competitor that you were like, oh man, I'm really curious to see how this one goes.
Well, there was a lot, obviously this week, and the pay-per-view is always, a big one, really exciting one to jump into, especially for the team's final. I can't remember the last team's final that we had digitally. That would have been a 5-rounder. That's been a while. But then particularly beyond that, I was really excited for Merle and Jeannine, just because Jeannine's been like one of my dearest friends from this whole thing since like day one. Like she kind of got me like into like the behind the scenes of this thing, from just being a fan to like being involved. And so I've always like had like a big debt of gratitude to her. So I've always been excited to see her play, and that's something really special to me.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely. I want to toss it on over to Boggs. First off, I want to ask if you have any questions for NerdChronic as well, because I've been kind of monopolizing the conversation here for a hot second. Let's get Boggs involved. He's always brilliant.
We're used to it now, John. Don't worry about it. But anyway.
That's fair. And I'm sorry.
No, totally joking. But yeah, NerdChronic, just wanted to ask, how's it going? Just generally, obviously, stepping away from the game and stuff. Are you still editing at the moment, or is it like complete break? Or give
I'm still so I've taken step back from the show, the Schmoedown particularly, but I'm still editing for other people right now, just to make some more money, especially for the holidays. But luckily, I'm not in a position where I need to like drive myself to work really hard right now. I can take a break at least throughout the remainder of the year, and like start really back up at the beginning of next year. Just because at the same time I was getting involved with the Schmoedown, like I was also getting involved with like another aspect of like the online community, which was like reactors. I worked for a lot of like online reactors, like the Real Rejects, like Late to the Party, and Adam Levick's channel, Heroes Reforged, stuff like that. And so I have like a lot of friends in that space as well. So once I kind of announced that I was going to be stepping away from the Schmoedown, I just kind of like touched base with some of them, and like they were gracious enough to throw me some work just to do for the a couple months to just keep some more money coming in, but also while I just relax and I kind of collect myself for the remainder of the year. But it's been great though so far. It's been a weekend. I posted a post yesterday talking about it a little bit on Twitter, and it's as much as I really loved the show, and like I'm still happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be here with you guys, and I'm going to be a bit spectacular and everything. But for me myself, like I just came to a point where like I needed I really like more than a break. A break is like understated. That's like what I needed. I needed really like opportunity to kind of like collect myself mentally and like physically, some other stuff that I needed to like take care of. And like I haven't had like a solid like kind of break or vacation in like a long time. So I'm trying to like give that to myself. Thankfully, with the help from Drew, who I've been dating for the last 2 years now, and like it's been really nice finding like time to myself with her help because of like how she kind of grounds me in that sense, beyond just being able to work. Because before I met her, all I knew was work. So all I knew was like work. Like every day, I just I would wake up and I would just think about how can I fill my day with like working on something. But now it's like with the stuff that she does and like we do together, I found like a little bit more fulfillment in things that aren't just like product, like work product results. And I've been able to relax a little bit for over this past week. I'm looking forward to the remainder of like the next couple months for the holidays.
Sounds great. Yeah, obviously much needed break, like you said. But as well, people are also asking about Spectacular and things like that. Can you tell us the setup, or like who will be editing that stuff? Because some people may not know all the behind the scenes people. Is it Skybound? Do they have other people? Want to make sure that it's in safe hands.
Yeah, sorry about that. So Skybound in general, it has like a team of editors who like we've been working with for the kind of this year in different aspects. So like Abby Friel has been editing, and she's been doing a great job. On top of like Aaron Wilhelm, who was the previous editor before me, and Ryan Barry, a new editor that came on this year. And they have a team going on that's been handling everything, and like they're in good hands as far as like the overall production goes. But as far as like my side of things goes with the promos, that's something that they'll have to they're figuring out right now. There were names that they were going through to try and take up that mantle, so to speak. And there's a name in particular. I just to be safe, I don't want to say who it is, but like there's someone who I do know is in talks to take that up right now to like handle that. Particularly, I think right now, so they can get everything done in time for Spectacular, so they have something to show. And that person, I think I has my endorsement if everything goes through properly. And I really hope that they do a good job and have a good time doing it, because I really trust their creative input on it.
Okay, so to your knowledge, there will be promos for Spectacular.
That is the goal. Yes, that is the goal. Yes.
Okay. Great. Please, Sol, your questions.
I know before being Schmoedown editor, you're also a huge Schmoedown fan. And so I wanted to get your take in because we had some people comment on it last weekend in the thing between Chandra and Mike and the possibility of that match. From your fan perspective, do you think it's going to happen without giving any spoilers, or and how your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was listening to you say, like, you feel the matches are taped so far in advance that it already happened. I was thinking, like, yeah, actually, yeah, like Chandra already won, and like they're already in the next year. He's already playing like Mike again for the belt. It's already back up. Just, no, it's really that whole thing in general took me by surprise. It was funny. I was watching the New York event with some Schmoedown friends at home in LA, which was like JTE and who else? Like there was King Khan and like a lot of the exchange just because they're local, and so it was a handful of them and I think 6 or 7 other people, and we were watching it and everyone was like taken by surprise when Chandra walked out onto that stage, and so it was a really fun thing to see. Like not just the fans, like get taken by surprise and get riled up about it, but like see the competitors, even like Drew and my buddy Dwayne Burke was there too, and like we were just talking about the match, and yeah, it was a big surprise to everyone. And I think the turbulence of the decision about like what's happening there is, I think, purposefully, breathtaking as far as like what's happening right now. So I think I feel like we're going to come to a head with it at Spectacular, just because next year Christian hasn't made any secret that next year's going to be kind of like a reset of certain things and like how the league is just structured in general. And so I do think by Spectacular we'll get our hard answer of like what's happening, because yeah, I mean it's like between now and then, like we have like what, like 3-4 matches,
3 weeks. Oh well, yeah, just 3 matches this week. Yeah.
3 matches in general, and then we're taking the break, right, and then Spectacular, I believe. So yeah, I do think between now and then we'll get like a hard answer as to what's happening, and then we'll also get a hard answer as to like what's happening at Spectacular with that. It's funny, I as much as I really like, obviously we have like a handful of matches lined up. We have like the Star Wars started matchup, and now the teens thing matched up, and for the actual belts. But I always liked Spectacular as it was from last year, which was like split up between like title matches and like story-esque matches, as like a off on. So like I do like that we're having this kind of lead up to that, with like Roka's like thing leading up to that. So I think it's fun. I think everything for those things that aren't title related necessarily, in just terms of like regular competition, has been very well seated so far.
And as well, sorry, NerdChronic. In terms of next year, would you consider being a player? Because we know you're IG guy.
Would you my questions, Bob.
Yeah, because you wanted to play before you got drafted last year. So would that be an option?
In general, yes. I mean, I really do need to still see where I'm at in my kind of health by next year, especially with like how things are changing again with the league. I'm not even entirely sure what the kind of foundation will be as far as getting everyone involved at the start of the year next year. So I'll have to see what that process is. But in general, in theory, yes, I would like to play. I think I just have a lot of fun playing along at home still. Like even when we would tape the matches or record the matches or I would edit the matches, I would have like a lot of fun just playing along, like answering like by myself or with Drew when we would watch like the pay-per-views and stuff. Even now, Drew still does her study sessions with her Patreon group and everything, and I sometimes sit in on those and play along, and I do pretty well. I was on Mark Riley's horror free-for-all that they did a couple weeks ago, and I did pretty well, and that lasted about like 3 or 4 rounds out of like I think like 10 or 12 I think that they had in there. So like yeah, I can hold my own, especially since I've never, I think, properly studied like for like the game as far as like just beyond just helping Drew and helping her study. So I think if I actually dedicated myself to like studying and sitting down and actually trying to do it, I think I could do pretty well. Whether it's the Schmoedown or the FCL, like depending on what's happening with either one, like as far as who's going to go where next year, I'd be happy to do either one, because I know the Schmoedown might be a great thing to be part of because it's like the main league. But the FCL would be fun too because I have a lot of friends there. I have like Andres Gallego there, and all the other people like that he's made friends with this year. And my sister Nancy, also known as Sister Chronic, might be throwing her hat in the ring to the FCL next year as well. So if she is involved, then yeah, we might figure out some team ups there or something like that. So yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, everyone wants that scalp, no chronic scalp. That'll be a big win. And I still hold that flag for, you should call a match as well. That's my whether it's FCL or the Schmoedown proper. I think you should do that still.
Thank you. Also, that
just have you and PJ on the desk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have the behind the scenes guys around the desk. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I hijacked the conversation. Do you have any more questions?
Last question right here is you are going to take this much needed break. You've done so much for the Schmoedown, and we really, truly thank you. What are you looking forward to most with this break?
Like I said before, like really just relaxing and trying to find some time to touch back with like things that I just, love doing in general. Like I really dedicate myself to the show over the last couple of years, and I was happy to do that. And I really loved like the result of that. I love being, involved with like you guys and like the other shows and like the community. And like I really worked hard to make you guys feel like a part of the show itself. Like that's why I worked really hard to keep tabs on like, who was recording what, who was talking about what, who was what on what show, and just like making sure that the show was able to like kind of give back to you guys and like show that your efforts here were seen and taken and like appreciated. And so it took a lot of time to do that, but in that time I just kind of lost touch with like hobbies and like general things I didn't have time to do, which was like just like even like playing video games or like reading and relaxing and just, watching movies, like not necessarily related to like studying and cramming and new releases and stuff like that. Even like going to the theater, even though the theater experience itself kind of like went away for most people this past year. But even now that it's kind of back, I want to do more of that too. I want to get back into the theaters and watch new movies again and have a lot of fun like that. But also, as I get older, it's like that thing, like you kind of want to appreciate like the people in your life. And like I took this week particularly to come like visit my parents and just like spend a week with them just because I haven't had like a lot of time to like see them and just like stop and like appreciate like my time with them. And I'm looking forward to coming back in just another week so to come hang out for Thanksgiving. And same with like Drew, so she's gonna go see her mom soon in Delaware. And so yeah, it's just those type of things, like relaxing and kind of just like finding again like the joy in like the smaller things that I kind of like pushed aside for the last couple of years just to make sure like the work got done. And on top of that, also just reconnecting with a lot of like friends I have in, like I said, in the reactor space online, people that I've worked with before but haven't had a lot of time to work with like recently. And so working with them again is like really fun, and like the work itself is really fulfilling, but it's not as taxing because as much as the show is great, it was very special to me, and it was a very big part of me, and I made it a very big part of myself. It's taxing to make like promos as the way I did, because I really like tailor made them to fit like the match and the players and the tone and everything. And doing that is very, very like time consuming and taxing to like make sure everything kind of fit. Whereas like the reaction work that I do is fun and I really like doing it. It's not as taxing. It's kind of like very straightforward. Like you put the thing together, you cut it up, and like there it is. So I can knock those out like very, very passively, and it doesn't like drain me as much over the week to like keep doing it.
And you can definitely tell with the promos how much passion you put into them, and that's why they're so good. And so thank you for all that you've done for the Schmoedown. Again, I just want to repeat myself on that. Thanks for like even including us in some of your promos too. I know every time we see ourselves, we're like, hey, we're in this promo. So it's an exciting moment for all three of us. If I can speak for John and Fox there.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I had a speaking role in fucking Ace versus Thomas Harper. I'll never forget that.
And I'm excited that you're going to be able to enjoy more time to the hobbies and things that you want to do. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah. And it'll be fun going back to like the fan aspect of like, it was fun watching the matches when they were taped and stuff like that. But watching it in the zeitgeist and the conversation of everyone watching it live as it happens, that'll be fun again to do too, for the time being, just because it's I always like the conversation everyone has about the show and what happens afterwards after these big developments happen.
I actually had a follow-up question to that, talking about the fan space. Obviously, while we are not a biased show, we've always been encouraged to speak our minds, and we do. We are, of course, a show hosted here on John Roca's YouTube channel, and it has now been confirmed that John Roca will be getting a match at Spectacular, his one last ride, that we don't know who yet. So I was curious if in your mind, again, just speaking of that fan mentality, if there's one person that you feel like you're walking into Spectacular and you hear their intro music start playing, who is in your mind the like dream player you'd like to see him go up against?
That's tough because like obviously this match isn't something that develops into something later. Like this is kind of like the button at the end of like the thought, right? And so this has to be something kind of meaningful to John to let him finish it there and then go out. And I think to me, I had this like before this whole conversation even started, was I think I would have liked to see him play Dan one last time, mainly for a couple points, which is just that at the beginning of the season, like that was the storyline, right? It was supposed to be John versus the exchange versus the dungeon, and like like the breakup of that, falling out of that. So I think just giving them the match, as far as like even if it's not for the belt or for like actual points or anything, just giving them a grudge match for like a final say. Like it would be a rubber match too, effectively between them. So like it's always like a fun novelty as well. And I remember last year as that we were having not like the tournaments, but before like that we had like that kind of mini bracket of like Dan and then like Ben and then like John coming up, and like again like the usual kind of like rotation of people coming in at each other. There was the potential that Dan could have played John at some point last year and this year. And I remember the song that I used in Bateman Moral 2, the digital match, the title match that they played, which was Long Live the King. Like that was a song that I had held on to for a while, and I wanted to use that for John and Dan if they had played each other that year, or potentially at Spectacular or something like that. So, but once I saw just like the trajectory of where everything was going, it probably wasn't going to happen anytime soon. I decided to use it for Ben and Dan, just because of the narrative also kind of fit there for a little bit. But yeah, if I had picked, I would have loved to have done John versus Dan Murrell, as like the final match, and like have the song be like "Long Live the King" at the very end of it, and like I think that would have been like my dream promo to like send John off into the into the sunset.
Hell yeah, that, and I'm excited to see, because we could easily get it, and that would be super fun to see what winds up happening over at the Spectacular. Soul, I believe we also have some questions from the Discord as well for the lovely NerdChronic, which again, folks, you can be a part of and leave your own questions by joining patreon.com/John Roca. But Soul, yeah, I think we've got quite a few of them.
Yes, we do. First one coming from Ambling Soul. She wants to know, what's the most recent movie you've seen?
Most recent movie I've seen, as far as like just in general, like the most recent movie, Drew and I literally just finished watching Curse of Chucky like an hour ago, because she's covering the Child's Play series tonight on her show with Adam Collins. Why We Like This. And then last night, in terms of like new releases, we watched the movie Antlers in theaters. Which is like a horror movie that just came out. Even though it's a movie that came out, it felt like it came out like 2 years ago, but it's finally in theaters now. And it was really enjoyable. It was really funny. It's a horror movie set in like the Pacific Northwest, I think, and it's super fun. And yeah, again, like it's nice to see a horror movie in theaters, just because like that type of atmosphere, like I think it amplifies it a lot more.
Yeah, I've been trying to like get myself ready, because I'm gonna go see Last Night in Soho, and I don't like horror movies at all. So like that's the one that I've decided, I was like, I have to pick one or the other to go see. So I'm preparing myself mentally and physically, like be like, okay, you're watching a horror movie, it's okay, it's not real.
Yeah, at least Last Night in Soho is still like Edgar Wright, so it's still gonna be like just like awesome in general.
Yeah. Next question we have is from Drunken Prayer. How did you first get into video editing, and what do you most enjoy about it?
So I got into like video in general in high school, or like when I was a kid, I used to like my dad had like, one of those huge like, rocket launcher cameras, like, home cameras that you could like record things with. And so I would take that and I would actually like play with my toys. This is like when I was like 6 or 7 years old. I had like, like Batman toys that I would play with. I would put the camera down and like, compose the shot. I would like hit record, like do the scene. I would hit stop and then like move things around, move the camera around, get a different angle, then hit record again and do it like that. And that's how I would edit. I would just like stop the shot every single time to like do a new shot. And like on the VHS you recorded to, that's how you would watch it back. It would just play consecutively, so it looked like it was edited, even though it was just me like moving the camera around manually for each shot. So like I did that when I was a kid, and then when I was in high school, I finally and I got into a video editing class, which taught me like digital video editing and like actual camera work and stuff like that. And I just fell in love with it like immediately. I just like would spend like my lunch hours in there and like my off time hours just like going in there and editing and like doing videos. So much by the time next year, I was like almost like teaching the class with my the teacher, because I took it again and I was like helping other students like as like a TA essentially. And when I went to college, like I was kind of unsure of like what exactly I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go into like TV or like film or whatever, or like directing or all this stuff. So I took courses in like directing and writing and media and stuff like that. And I latched onto multimedia specifically, which was like editing and podcasting and all the digital stuff side of it. And like that's where I really, really found my footing, which is like I realized I loved editing. Like I love filmmaking too, but I loved editing in particular because it's like I like the end process of having the materials and putting it together. Like the pre-production and actual production is like fun, but the post-production side of it and like doing the work of like making it into like a cohesive product was the most fulfilling part of it to me. And so I decided to make that my career choice, leaving college. And then once I did that, like I had like a pretty successful run as far as like finding jobs in general. And like I'm glad now that I was able to like spend the last few years like really utilizing all those skills and like learning new skills like just with this job and like the other work that I've done. So yeah, it's editing's been my job of choice for the last few years, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, I remember watching an interview with Rachel Cushing, and she was talking about that being an editor, she's able to create storylines and stuff just by being an editor, and that she has input in the story, even though she wasn't the creator of that story. And I think that's just such an interesting thing, being an editor, that you have that kind of freedom and that creativity.
Yeah, and for the Schmoedown in particular, that's pretty much what it was with each promo, because the promos, editing in general is like a puzzle. It's like putting a puzzle together, but with like different pieces every time. And for the Schmoedown in particular, it was like doing a puzzle like 4 times a week, but it was like everything was different. You became new pieces every single time, and like some pieces it would be like a larger puzzle or a smaller puzzle, or like like a differently shaped puzzle. And so it was always like a different experience. And for some of them, like I am really grateful to Christian that he gave me such creative freedom with the promos, because he trusted me so much to like build the narrative as like I felt worked, and we always like kind of saw like eye to eye on like what worked and what had to happen. And an example in particular was Laura Kelly's match against Eric Whiteley, and like where she did the Joker makeup on her face. And so like she actually did, like I think she said it on another show on J Network show, where she actually did like a lot more. Like there was like a few shots and lines that she had in there that I didn't use, just because so I had seen the match beforehand of her match with Eric, and I in the match I knew that she says up top like I'm trying not to be as cocky and trying to like to be a little more humble and like going this with like a little more respect to my competitor. So she wasn't like going at him as hard. And so, but in the promos, she does go at him pretty hard, like as far as like the lines that she uses against him. So I was like, okay, I had to make a call to balance that. So like I kept in like a lot of the Joker stuff and a lot of like some of her jabs at him and in a playful manner, but I didn't let her go like 100%, just to keep like the narrative through line consistent, which was what you would see in the promo than see in the match. And sometimes like I just had to do that to make sure that everything is cohesive, and like the competitors, I also love when they give me like material to work with. Like Bibbs is also super fun, because I never know what he'll send in, him and like Shazam in general, and like some of the other managers, competitors, like they'll send in like such creative things that I love working around like what they're doing to make the promo as fun as it can be.
Is that much more fun when you have someone like Bibbs sending in all this creative work, or is that more of a like, oh, you have a lot to whittle down?
It depends on what it is, because usually it's fun because I just need to find like a way to give them enough breathing room to get the thoughts out and like do their their fun stuff. Because when it's that, like I don't mind like the promo kind of be more of like just their material. Sometimes I try to balance it with like their material, like the after shows, like the pre-match stuff that we've seen before. Just to build like something like well-rounded. But like when they put a lot of effort into being like humorous or like really edgy and stuff what they're doing, I try to let that stuff breathe. So like that helps me a lot when like they give me some really good material. I'm like, all right, I'll just let the fans like appreciate what they're doing here, because like they obviously put a lot of time and effort into like doing this one.
Absolutely. We're gonna put a quick pause on these wonderful Discord questions, which again, patreon.com/JohnRoca, because we do in fact have a second phenomenal guest that is going to be here talking about her match in particular. She's quickly become one of our favorite guests that we've ever get to have on this show. We've been so lucky to have her multiple times to talk about her performance in overall an incredible singles tournament. Please give it up for the Boston Badass, Paige Frabetti.
Hey.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. I feel like I was just on with you guys not too long ago. So I'm happy to get to see you guys' faces again. And Eric, of course, NerdChronic, the best guy in the business. Getting to hang out with him again is always lovely as well. So
good to see you, Paige. I thought your match was last week for some reason, so like I should have mentioned you up top about my matches. I was excited.
Oh, you are fine. I know you secretly love me. I'm your favorite rookie. We all know this.
So wait, I'm curious. Is that the double decked out in the USC gear? Is that what's going on?
Actually, this hat is I used to work for a burger blog back in the day, so it says "Make burgers great again." Not make America. We do not. I do not represent that. Make burgers, food guys. So I tend to wear it backwards so people don't get the other idea.
That's fair.
So, but it goes really well with the USC shirt. So
yeah,
the color
absolutely. Oh well, good. First off, I just have to ask right off the bat. Are we still going to be able to see Paige Frabetti live at Spectacular, even though, unfortunately, you might not be playing in a match? Are you still going to be there hanging out with the rest of us Schmoedown folks?
Of course. You guys can't get rid of me that easy.
Hell yeah.
I may have got knocked down in that match a little bit, but it did not break my spirit, and I'm going to be at Spectacular with all you lovely people, and it's going to be awesome. It'll be my first Spectacular to be appearing in. Not playing in, but like appearing like in the audience will be awesome. And this to be like a talent now and a competitor within the league. It's just a crazy whirlwind, exciting feeling to be able to go and join in and hang out with all you guys. So
absolutely, that's going to be a whole lot of fun. We'll be excited to see you there. That does remind me though, because I don't think since the last time we had you on, I don't know if we were able to talk about your other live show performance, which is when you got to hop on stage during that Josh Horowitz Griffin match, and kind of a nice little precursor to your match this week. Again, just talking about going from the fan to being now one of the talent to being one of the people that gets to hop up on stage and be like, no, enough of these two. It's me time. It's everybody. We're talking about me now. What was that experience like? Because that's again like a whole other, I feel like, bundle of nerves just to like hop up on stage and be like, no, you idiot, look at me now. It's me.
No, it was so cool because the first live event I went to was Brooklyn in New York in 2019. So it was it felt so surreal to be able to like, wow, I'm actually on stage now when this is my first like live event that I went to a few years back. So it was very surreal and like it felt like it was a huge honor to be able to do it. Like even if Christian didn't let me, I was hopping on that stage no matter what because I need to set my stone and put my place in there. Even though I broke the mic, but we don't need to mention that part. I guess the mic only does not like Boston people. I don't know, but it's whatever. But no, it was very surreal. It was awesome to be able to be out there and make my mark known because we need more fierce women in this league, and I'm glad that I get to be one of them. At least other people think that. I don't know, but
Co-signed 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, and it is also lovely as well that while unfortunately the match we're going to be talking about was the end of your run in this singles tournament, it is lovely to still see that we have such an incredible badass woman in the top 4. That being Jeannine the Machine, who was part of the Suspects last year. This year she's part of the Stars. We don't know about that, but we do know she's incredible. So yeah, I kind of wanted to ask as well, like, because obviously she's been again a staple of this game for a hot second. Getting to see her in general is always a blast, but especially getting to see her like pull up such momentum and have such like great performances and great wins on top of that. Like, how has that been to see as well? Again, somebody that has been rightfully touting the fact that the game needs more women and the fact that there are so many women who are so damn good at this game, regardless even of gender. So like, I feel like this has been a great emblematic year of that in a lot of ways.
It really has. Like, I mean, I feel like so much diversity has happened within this season with Marisol getting the belt and Jeannine being the final 4 right now. It's just like a huge honor because I look up to these ladies like so highly, like including like Video Drew as well. Like all of the women competitors in the league, I've always looked up to, like, because at the end of the day, like Clockwork has said, like, we are the league. So it feels like a huge honor to be able to be included in that sphere of those like amazing, talented women, and to be like, wow, I'm like maybe part of them. I can be like their little like Padawan kind of in a sense. Like it's just like crazy to be able to like be like, wow, I look so highly up to these women. So the fact that like they're performing so well this year and such like that, it just feels crazy to be like, wow, like I get to see with my own eyes now and like understand where they're coming from and everything like that. So it's such a huge honor. It's amazing.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm going to toss it over very quickly to our own badass lady, Soul, to break down this incredible match that we had. You going up against the venerable, the potential unstoppable object, unstoppable force. Soul, you were the one who made that joke.
Who knows?
Soul, why are you so much smarter than me? Please talk about this match.
Well, first, last time I wasn't wearing any Boston gear, so I rectified that.
I appreciate that. I saw that hat. I was like, damn, I wish I had that hat on right now instead of my burger is great again. So we'll switch hats. I'll send this one to you in the mail and you vice versa.
I think my dad won't be too happy because it's his hat.
Okay, maybe we will do that.
But going into your match, round 1, directors seem to have gotten you this time, my friend. And missing that Snake Eyes director, Footloose. Get Shorty so close. You put Be Cool.
I know. That one gets me every time because I knew the answer. I just could not. I knew Be Shorty was Be Shorty. See, this is what I mean. Be Cool was the sequel to Get Shorty, and I just couldn't pull. Like, I always get them mixed up and confused, and so that's why I literally, when I flipped my board, I said like, I'm pretty sure this is not right. And when he said Get Shorty, I was like, yep, I knew there was something like that. Yeah, for me, this match, I don't know. It was getting closer to the finals, the matches are definitely getting harder. And you always hope to go perfect, but sometimes the cards just don't go your way. You can do as much studying as you want to do. Like, I study my butt off, but sometimes you just have those little like blank spots that maybe I should have overchecked like dance movies more, considering some of my faction members always seemed like they like dance movies and they put that on the wheel a lot for their team slices. And so I was like, damn it, I should have probably like looked at those more in depth or something like that. And it's funny because I definitely have studied like Brian De Palma too, but I study more of like his horror aspect than I think like Snake Eyes in a sense. So like little things like that, like you always have blank spots at the end of the day, no matter what. And I think Griffin said it too, like in the match, like sometimes it is a game of luck. You get the questions you know, you get the questions you don't know. That round 1 definitely bummed me out, and I feel like it didn't take over my whole game because I was only down by 3 at that point, but it definitely had me frustrated because that was the weakest round 1 I've ever played. And so I was just like, I got to get my butt back in gear and just have a good round 2 and just hope for the best for the rest of the match. So,
and echoing Leo Logan in the chat, that Jasmine guy that from Harlan Knights, that was a pretty deep cut for round 1. Which we see round 1s get harder and harder as the tournaments go, and the question writers are doing such a good job with that. But he ended up missing that question as well, so that must have been nice that you're like, oh, he didn't get that perfect round.
Oh my god, yeah. It was funny because we were like talking like during like obviously there's always edits like in between and stuff, and we were talking to each other about it too. We were just like I was thinking of Lisa Bonet, and like I just wrote Lisa on the board, so people were like, "Who's this Lisa chick she's talking about right now?" Like, but no, it was definitely like I know the film very well. I just like couldn't pull the name, and sometimes we only have those 15 seconds. Either your mind goes blanks or it just starts running, or you're just like, I know the answer. And for me, it was just running of all these different options in my head. And that was kind of just like, not the downfall of that round one, but you could tell that I was getting more and more frustrated with missing questions. Like the Get Shorty one, like I knew. So like that definitely frustrated me in a sense. But you know what? It just means more studying has to be put into place for little things. So such like that. Can't get every question right, unfortunately. I mean, sometimes you can, but you're bound to miss a few here and there. So
I'll throw over to Boggs. Your thoughts on round one?
Yeah, like I mean, you pretty much covered it. You know, obviously, like you said, it's your lowest, so that kind of caught me by surprise in a way. And then going into the second round, you went multiple choice and then missed that your first question. I thought, oh my god, like you know, I kind of worried for you for a bit there, but then you kind of went perfect for the rest of the round there. But what I'll say was going into the match against Nooms, did you think he was your toughest competitor yet? Because obviously, you know, you played Bateman, you know, you played Dan, and obviously Bateman in Danger Zone. Was this your toughest test? Do you feel?
For me, honestly, I look at every match as like my next like toughest match that I'm going to be facing, especially when you're in the tournament sphere. It's getting harder and harder every time. And for me, I mean, Griffin's a force of nature. The man's a beast from the Middle East. Literally, he's from the East. But no, he's just so good. And to me, at the end of the day, I try not to focus on who I'm playing. It's more just me versus the questions. But I knew it was going to be a tough match no matter what. For me, a biggest thing I wanted to do when getting into this tournament and then finding out that I was going to be playing Bateman was, all right, I got to put this man in his place. So I was so glad I got to do that. And I was like, all right, I really want to make this known that like I'm here to stay. So like it was an honor to be able to play Griffin. The dude's a freak of nature. He knows his stuff. I wanted to play better against him. My goal was to obviously potentially beat him or just give him a run for his money. And that's what I said. Next season, Griffin, rematch, man. 2.0. Boston versus New York, guys.
I kind of want to see the hat again as well. Just wear it. Just, you know.
Oh, I will. I don't know where it is right now, but I will. In that match, I definitely will. Maybe not wear the Bruins one, but I'll wear the Red Sox one next time.
No, I mean the Burgers one. I want the Burgers.
Oh, the Burgers one. Yes, I will then. I got you.
Thrives on conflict.
Made Burgers great again. That was great.
I have a Notorious B.I.G. shirt, and it's like Biggie as like a burger, so I'll wear that with this hat. It'll be perfect.
Oh, that's awesome. But I was saying, you called your shot with Bateman, and then you won that. So maybe calling your shot, that's just what you need to do. You need to Babe Ruth it, just like point to the outfield and be like, this is what I'm doing.
It is. And so, Christian, if you're listening, man, 2.0 next season, Boston versus New York. Make it happen. Because we know we're not going to have a New York match next season, so...
Listen, we can set it in Philly. Match. That's technically neutral ground.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, no, I want that man to come to my turf.
Oh, all right. You're saying specifically.
I want to play on my own battlefield in my home base. So that's what I like.
All right. I dig it.
Yes, yeah, things like that. Like, you know, that's awesome. I'm just for the time being, I'm relishing the fact that I don't have to like log that for to use in a promo like in next September. You know.
You can message.
No, I'm actually gonna have Eric. I'm gonna send in all my promo work for Eric just to help me out and just be like, make me look good because he always makes everyone look good, especially me during the promo. So I'm just gonna be like, help me out, man. Like he would help me out even if I didn't ask. So it was perfect. So he's still gonna be my wingman in that. So sorry, Eric, I can't get rid of you that easy.
You can send to the new editor, be like, hey, I have a perfect thing you can use. I won't do it, but you can do it.
Yeah, it's gonna like bug them like every day with like time codes and all these shows and stuff.
No, Crowley, did you ever have an assistant, by the way, like to help you with like, I don't know, looking at after shows or like the promo stuff or just like, you know, maybe loose cutting footage before you do or anything like that?
No, it was all me. It was literally just like me sitting like at my desk every day and going through the shows and like keeping track of like who said what, who was on where, who has a match coming up, you know, for the foreseeable future. And like listening and like if you know there's like a lot of the lines I used in Alex versus Molly's match, I had gotten those lines like in like March, you know, or April when they said it. It's like, all right, if they play together this year, I need to like keep track of this stuff.
That's why this man needs a break. What he did, Eric, you are a freak of nature in these editing realms. So I'm glad you get to take a break and like focus on yourself and stuff, because it was a lot of hard work that you put in. So it's nice that you get to at least focus on yourself right now and do what you got to do to relax and just be able to chill out for a little bit and not have to work 24/7. So
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I hope you had a very comfy chair for how much
yeah,
you had to
right.
sit in it.
I did, thankfully.
Well, at least a neck pillow or something. So.
Yeah.
But going into this round 2, you spin remakes, reboots, and like Boggs was saying there, you missed that first question, and he was able to steal it. And I was like, oh no, we're going down a path. But then you brought yourself back up. You went perfect through the rest of your round 2. And then he spins Jim Henson. He gets a 7 out of 8 points, dropping the multiple choice once. I'm going to throw it over to John first. Your thoughts on round 2?
First of all, why is a monkey named Thade? What's going on there? I just have written down missed the Planet of the Apes Thade multiple. What are we doing? What do we do? You can't tell me a monkey looked at another monkey and said, "You look like a Thade." That's not a thing.
It's an ape.
Why couldn't I get any other Planet of the Apes question besides that the Tim Burton one? I mean, but whatever. So, but no, I knew Tim Roth was in it. To me, I don't know why. I just felt like it was like a trick question. I was like, it can't be Tim Roth. That's just too easy. I was like, you're just naming one of the random apes in it. So I'm just gonna go Paul Giamatti because I know. I mean, I think every multiple choice answer like they were in it, but I was like, Paul Giamatti seems like a good one because I don't know. I knew Tim Roth was like the main guy, but I just sometimes you just think that the writers are messing with you a little bit, so you try to like outplay it kind of in a sense. But after that, I was like, all right, butts in gear. Let me take my time now and answer these questions. Like,
absolutely, and that paid off because like Sol was saying, after that one question, you went completely perfect all throughout, and then you just you look at Griffey over here, who very clearly between the Pixar and the Jim Henson, he's got his very specific bag, and it's that kind of media that is intended for children, but also very much enjoyed by adults, which is fair. It makes sense. The man stars in cartoons, so that's more than fair. But yeah, I mean, I guess when you saw that he spun Jim Henson, kind of having seen how much damage he did with that Pixar category, were you like, was that a thing that like you noticed and were like, no? Or was that something where you're just like, whatever. He's answering questions now. I get to zone out for a sec. Focus on me.
Oh, you don't even get to zone out though, because you're just like listening to hope that they get a missed opportunity so you can get a steal in a sense.
That's fair.
But for me, I mean, like once you get the whale and you can look at it, you can kind of pinpoint like what did I put on there versus like possibly what they could have put on there. And my guess was that he put Jim Henson on the wheel. And I think he kind of even says like I got the wheel slice I wanted. Because like you can kind of tell with the rhythm of his matches, like what he's been very good at are definitely more like family-oriented films. Obviously, Jim Henson did like all the Muppet movies and like Labyrinth and all of those and stuff. So you can tell that those are his like fortes kind of in a sense. So once he got it, I was just like, man, I hope he gets a toughie so that I can steal because I've had a little bit time to kind of prepare in advance. So I was just hoping for the best, but no, he killed it in that. So props to him. So.
Mm-hmm.
That man child, I don't know what it is. He's like 35 going on 10. I don't know, but whatever.
Hey, I'm a woman child. I love cartoons as well, so I can relate.
I mean, yeah, I'm not talking smack. I'm 28. I mean, I feel like I'm 90, but I look like I'm 10. So I like it all. Whatever.
I feel that too. I'm 27, and sometimes people think I'm still in high school.
Yeah, I get carded to like buy like a lighter. Like nonsense, random stuff.
Well, going into your round 3, and then unfortunately it was a TKO here. I was so upset with the Jimmy Dugan one because that was very tricky with the way they worded that question to make you think Castaway. But man, I was just like, no, League of Their Own, no, Paige. So before we go to 3 and 5 pointer. I know you were beating yourself up with that one.
I mean, it's like obviously in the heat of the moment, you're just like, I have to just focus on the next question now. But I was pissed off at myself with that one because I just thought it was so obvious. I don't know. It was weird. Nothing to the writers or anything like that, but generally like 2-pointers have like more context clues kind of in it in a sense. So with me, like just hearing like washed up, like that was just like the first, like I didn't even like think of the character name that was really given. I just heard washed up and I was just like, all right, yeah, because I'm pretty sure his name in Castaway was like Chuck or something like that. So I'm just like, what am I doing? Like I just like shouted out an answer when I should have like taken my time. And it's my rookie season. Like now I know like I have that 15 seconds sometimes feels like the longest 15 seconds, but sometimes it also feels like the shortest 15 seconds. And I think at that point I was just like, I need to shout out an answer right now just to get my like footing back on track, and made that little stump. And I was just like washed up. Like literally if I just used a repeat, I would have gone it. I just wanted to hop on it right away. And sometimes you just can't do that. And yeah, it was not a fun one to miss. Let's say that. So it was funny. I think someone wrote in the comments like, fun fact, Tom Hanks just said like A League of Their Own was one of his favorite films he ever worked on. I really wanted to comment on it and be like, fun fact, that was my least favorite question I've gotten this season.
But you do end up getting your 3 and then missing that top 5-pointer. So I'm going to throw first to NerdChronic. Your thoughts on the whole match in general. Any questions for Paige as well?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Jimmy Dugan thing. Like, I really, I saw what it did. Like, obviously, I think the phrasing in that question was purposeful. I think it was meant to be like a trap in that sense. And sometimes I'll do that. Kind of same thing with like the Thade question. Like, I think in an earlier match in this tournament, like they would have said General Thade, and like that would have given you like a little more context to like discern who it might be. But now that you're this far in the tournament, like I think that they're purposefully taking away some of those context clues just to make it a little more rigorous on you guys. And so I get it. I get like, how easy it is to like, make those misses. And so like, I don't think you have anything to hang your head about. I really playing like, Griffin in this sense, because like he's a tough opponent. Like obviously like he's, plowing through everyone. Especially after where he just did to Josh in New York, like he after that, like I think you definitely got to hang your head around anything. I just love that it was you and Drew that gave him like such huge runs for his money so far. And the match in general, though, I love seeing both of you play because this is, I think someone had noted that this was the first time that 2 rookies would like make it like no matter what would be locked in for the Final Four.
Yeah, and, I think it is.
So so like no matter what, it was like the outcome was going to be something progressive for the league in general. So you guys did a really good job in that sense. But yeah, again, like I just want to say, like Paige, like you've been one of my favorite people to watch like this season, like one of my favorite rookies for the league. I think if I had to vote, it's like you and like I think Thomas and probably like someone else like maybe Amaru or someone like that as far as like the rookies I would vote for like rookie of the year, just because not only your gameplay but like how hard you obviously work at being good at the game, but then again how hard you work at being involved in the community, which I've always appreciated. I always appreciate people who come in and are only good at the game but also like want to be a part of this sphere in general. And I've seen that. I think I don't think I've seen anyone as gung-ho about being a part of this as I've seen it with you. And
thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah. And this is why Eric is one of my actually good friends, like in this like community and stuff. Like, and I will say that too. Like, I know we like haven't talked about like the end of the match kind of in a sense, but like for me, like ending my season on this note like wasn't the most ideal thing, but it was still like, and this is like Paige speaking, not like the Boston Badass, but like it was a huge honor and such an amazing and great experience that I got to like join in on this community, not just being like a fan, but actually like partaking in it kind of, because I've grown into the community so much now that like I know all the after shows. I know all of you guys now. Like I consider all you guys my friends. It's nice to be able to find like your community and like being within this league that like it helped me like find like my people and stuff. And it's an experience that I will forever be grateful for and so honored that like I had and continue to have, because it's done nothing but like at least like mental health wise for me and just like finding like my people and stuff. And it's like nice to be able to like I can nerd out about with movies with all of these people and talk about Schmoedown 24/7, like, and these people understand it and get it. So it's like nice to like find your people and be in a community that is like so open and just amazing. So
It's love, like pure love.
it is.
But Boggs, John, any more questions on this match or thoughts on this match?
Yeah, well, I'll say, overall, I think your record is 3-2 in singles. Am I right? And
Yes.
only 1 in teams. That's 6 matches in 8. Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, 6 matches. Yeah, it's like it's crazy. I got to play 6 matches this season. Like it doesn't even feel like surreal and stuff. Like after the match, like I definitely was beating myself over it because I didn't want my season to end that way. Especially with TKO. I wanted to hand out the TKOs. I didn't want to receive any. So the fact that like I did get one like in my last match, like it was a bummer. It was a huge bummer. I was definitely upset about it. But you know what? It didn't discourage me. It motivated me for next season. And like speaking with Sam and stuff on the phone afterwards, and him just being like you should still be like so proud of yourself of what you accomplished this season. And like obviously in that moment you're still like beating yourself up, but like he was so right. Like my rookie season, I got to play 6 matches. Like what? Yeah, 6 matches. Like that's crazy. I've got to play with one of the greatest like teams players of all times. I got to be on a faction, like my manager being Sam Levine. I've been to meet all these friends. Like I think I accomplished a lot this season. I went above 500. That was the goal, and I'm glad I got to do that at least. So
yeah, and big wins, and like for sure nailed yourself down as at least a nomination for Rookie of the Year. In my eyes, no doubt about it. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of eager to, it's quite easy to say, oh, I need a rest now. I've had 6 matches, a lot of studying, but you sound like you're chomping at the bit. It sounds like you could play again this weekend. So, you got
if
great.
they give me the opportunity, I would do it on a drop of a dime. Let's just say that I'm always ready to throw down. So,
there we go.
Roka versus Paige. Roka versus Paige.
I was saying it to him the last time I was on here. Roka, if they don't give you one, I will be honored to play you. I would feel bad that you would lose in your last final match, but I would be honored to play against you. So
there you go.
Bring your whiteboard to Spectacular. You never know.
Hey, I pack it with me everywhere I go, so don't you worry.
There we go.
Yeah, I had a question as well. I don't know if y'all hear me typing away, but I'm looking over here at all of my notes that I've been keeping. And in my mind, you are not only a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year as far as nominations go, but also for Comeback Player of the Year. It's easy to kind of forget looking back now, but I remember your first match was a loss, one of the only 2 you've been handed in singles, to Peggy Gubbins. And then looking at how far you've come, like, yeah, it's just a testament to how much you've like really put your heart and soul into this game and how much it's come out into a really great year. NerdChronic as well mentioning that Thomas Harper has been a great rookie this year. I was kind of curious, if you had your druthers and like you could, lock yourself in as one of the for sure nominations for Rookie of the Year, what other rookies would you like to see on the ballot underneath you?
For rookie, I mean, definitely like my man Amaru, man. The fact that he got a title shot like his rookie year is just insane and such a huge honor to be able to have no matter what, win or lose. I mean, obviously, like Thomas Harper is freaking Star Wars. Like that man let me hold the belt, and I was like, this thing weighs as much as me. It's crazy. And definitely like my girl Nikki. What?
Yeah.
This girl's on fire. To quote the great Alicia Keys, because she is just killing it right now, and I don't think Thomas Harper is ready for this. So definitely like her as well. I mean, I'll give it to Griffin too, man. The kid beat me, so I will definitely give him like that props. But yeah, I mean, this rookie season was just like a class act. There's so many great players within it. But yeah, I guess we shall see. I think just to be nominated would just be a huge honor, but even if not, the fact that I just got to be in the league this season is just amazing. So
more than
potentially
fair.
Upset of the year as well. I know you don't like to call it an upset, but I think that's going to warrant.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it because you know what? I upset Ben Bateman, and that made me happy. So
there we go.
There we go. NerdChronic.
Sure
I'll take it.
NerdChronic, I want to know your 5. Who would you vote 5 rookies of the year, please?
Yeah, definitely Paige, as we said, for sure, and Thomas because of what he did in the Star Wars division. Griffin, I think, obviously has reached that point, regardless of whether he goes further in the tournament and goes all the way to Spectacular. If he does, go Spectacular, I think that's kind of like definitely a horse. But Nikki, like for sure, I think Nikki. It would be hilarious if Nikki beats Thomas and wins Rookie of the Year, and Star Wars whatever the year and so on, just because like I love Nikki's demeanor of like I'm not only supposed to be here today, like that's like her whole like thing. So it would be hilarious if she like won the belt and like won all the awards. It would just it'd be like the most humble like reception of a player winning all these accolades in one season. And then beyond that, one more I think Amaru. Yeah, I think Amaru maybe. Just because like I said, like he got his title shot against Mike, and like he gave Mike like a run for his money. Like he really pushed Mike, and Amaru. I'm not trying to bag on Amaru, but Amaru lost the match more than Mike won it. Like really, that's really what it came down to. Mike, like he had Mike on the ropes, and Amaru just had to hit his 5, and it would have been his. Like he couldn't nail it, but like that just shows how hard he pushed Mike to the limit at the end of it. Like like Mike was behind, and it was Amaru's to lose at that point. So I think he really proved his worth in that sense. I think it's going to come back next year with a vengeance. And so I think those 5 players right there are I think like really like as for me, departing the show right now for the foreseeable future, like it's people like Paige and Thomas and Amr and all that make me happy and like proud in a sense, like that I got to see these people and like help them in the rookie year, like kind of shine, like show what they have inside them a little bit in my own sense, and that makes me comfortable and like kind of confident in where the show will be in the future. And like I know that I really do think that this show will survive because of players like Paige and the others who really like make it special and show that it's not something that they just do for like because it's like money or like like credit or whatever. It's because you love doing it, and like that's I think what people latch onto.
It's so tough to think someone like Gold Leader might not get a nomination, being in 2 tournament finals. I mean, but that's how many good rookies we've had this year. So.
Yeah, Gold Leader too. I will say that I still like I in that tournament final, I was kind of happy with the other one. I think rooting for Nikki a little bit, just because again of her whole like humble brag, like what she's doing in a sense, like she's very just like I'm not like, this is not me, like I'm not supposed to be here. I love that aspect, but Gold Leader, I love his dynamic with Thomas, that they just quote each other so hard online, on Twitter, on Reddit, like they're just like these like the odd couple of like these if there were Star Wars teams, they would be the new odd couple in Star Wars teams, like just like how much they hate each other so much is hilarious to me. So I was really happy with either one going to Spectacular, but I knew that if Nikki had done this is like early on, like in like early in the year when I was thinking about the trajectory of it, if Nikki went to Spectacular, I was thinking like, yes, that'd be like a great story you can build around like the first woman to or second woman to go for the title in a couple years, and like what she can do with it. And then Gold Leader though, like that would be such a huge grudge match with him and Thomas. And I had like so many ideas in mind, just bouncing around in the ether of like what I wanted to do for that, because like I think one of my favorite promos this year was his first match with Thomas for the tournament finals in the summer. And so I'm really looking forward to them seeing each other again at any point in the future for the belt or otherwise.
Absolutely. And I think it's fair to say Gold Leader is also probably a shoo-in for a potential Star Wars Player of the Year as well. So we don't need to feel too bad about leaving him off of the Rookie of the Year. There's a couple different awards, just like there are a couple different Discord questions, and John knows how to do a segue for our wonderful guest, Paige Frabetti. Don't forget, gang, if you join the Patreon, patreon.com/JohnRoca, that's a way you can leave Discord questions for every wonderful guest that we have every single week. So it's well worth the investment. Soul, do we have those Discord questions at the ready? Well, then take it away.
So first we have from Jeremy Miller. He wants to know, do you have a favorite sporting event that you've been to?
Ooh, a favorite sporting event. I mean, definitely just like any Bruins game I think is awesome. I went to the in 2012, I went to the first matchup of the Bruins and the Canucks playing against each other since the Stanley Cup. So that was like a crazy match to like go and like be like, wow, like we just beat them in the Stanley Cup last year, and now like this is like them back at it again. So that was just like a huge, crazy honor. I mean, though, for myself though, like I grew up playing hockey my whole life, so like I played in like 2 state championships. I lied, 3 state championships. We won 1. I have a nice little pretty ring. I mean, so I guess like that's like my favorite sporting event, like playing and winning in a championship. So, and then hopefully next season I'll have a nice fancy Schmoedown belt that will be my favorite sporting event. So,
like I said, call your shot. I'm sure too, just being at like the Bruins game with those Boston fans, because I love Boston fans so much, and just like, hey, we beat you, so let's be rowdy.
Oh,
I'm sure
it
that
was
was an
rowdy as can be, because anyone like Canadians and Bostonians when it comes to hockey are rivals. So
And we have from Drunken Prayer, he wants to know best 80s/90s action star, Arnie Stallone or someone else.
ooh. I mean, could you guys consider like Kurt Russell? Like, I mean, he was in like Escape from New York. Like, he was also in like The Thing. I mean, that's really
Yeah.
more of like a horror movie kind of like. I don't know. I love. He was more like my man, like back in the day. But I mean, you could also say like, I mean, like Mel Gibson's like a crazy dude, but like he was in like the Mad Max films, like, and I love like dystopian like future like films like that. So like for me, like those are really like those are like my like jams, especially for like 80s and 90s movies.
Yeah.
NerdChronic, what would your answer be?
For action star?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. This isn't my pick, but Drew does crossword puzzles a lot recently, and one of the clues she had was like action star Cruise, and it was like Tom Cruise. Like, is he an action star? I don't know if I ever. I guess he is. Like by this point, like I guess like that's really.
At this point, he definitely is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, my action stars for the 80s and 90s. Jackie Chan. Like I grew up with like Jackie Chan movies with my dad and stuff, and like just like watching his like. His films was like such a huge part of like the way I ended up enjoying film and action fights in general in the future.
Such a good choice.
Yeah.
Just thinking Jackie Chan movies in my head right now.
Yeah.
Then Ambling Soul also wants to ask you, what's the most recent movie you've seen?
Ooh, okay. So I have two. I watched Werewolves Within the other night. Great comedy horror film. I really dug that one a lot. It has like I want to say like it has like Edgar Wright like vibes to it, but like the comedy aspect of it definitely does. From like kind of like if you like Shaun of the Dead and like Hot Fuzz, like this is definitely like your comedy. Or if anyone's seen like Save Yourselves that came out last year, like great like comedic horror films.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
And then I actually just recently wrote a review for Bite Size Breakdown for Home Sweet Home Alone. So I will definitely choose Werewolves Within over that film. So that's a damn sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I keep getting the Spotify ads for that, and I'm just like, oh, it's British? So is it a British movie? Because the kid sounds British in the ads.
He's British, but they're in the US. I don't know where. They're going to Tokyo. Yeah,
it's like the
go watch
opposite
it for yourself. Let me know what you think. But it wasn't my cup of tea. It made me homesick for the 90s film. That's for damn sure.
It's like the opposite of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where Charlie is American, but everyone around him is English for some reason.
Oh, right.
Oh my god, you're right. I've never even thought of that. That's very true. Yeah, what the hell?
Oh my gosh.
And then our last question here, T wants to know, where can you find a good sub in the city? I'm just presuming she's saying Boston.
Ooh, good subs. I'm weird. I mean, in the city, like Vegals is really good. I like burgers. I'm a burgers girl. I used to work for a burger blog. And for me, like that was like my like go-to thing. So like U Burger, what is it's called like Donkey Burgers, like really good. This is like so many. I don't want to say like Tasty Burger because everyone has. Do you guys have Tasty Burger?
No.
They have good burgers. I'm more of a burger girl, so like for me, like that was always like my go-to thing than like subs really. But like, I mean, everyone has Regals, but Regals is just like bomb.com.
Yeah. Oh wait, you just triggered a memory. I think it was in Cambridge specifically. I had a burger that was like topped with like ghost pepper mac and cheese.
Oh, I should have said Boston Burger. Fire. If you guys have ever had their 420 burger at the time 420, they're $4.20. Usually they're like $20. But it's got like that's my favorite burger actually. It's got like mac and cheese, mozzarella sticks on it, honey barbecue chicken on it. It's just like the fattest burger that will give you the worst stomach ache of your life. But while you're eating it, you will enjoy every little second of it. So I know we're talking about subs, but everyone go to Boston Burger. because there's a
It's
couple of them in the city. So, and whew, yeah, best burgers around. So
sounds like a garbage plate, but on a burger.
oh, it pretty much is. And afterwards, you feel like garbage, but it's like going down. It tastes like $1,000,000. So
I think there's a whole restaurant like that called a Fat Sal's out here in Los Angeles, like where their whole thing is just we put 30 different things in a sandwich and you're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
see, I love stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's like it all goes down the same spot anyway. So why not just mix it all together? Like,
Sure, fair enough. You'll hear no complaints from me.
one day I'm
And
gonna wake up and be like 300 pounds, but it's whatever.
I'm
Till
gonna
then.
go back to Discord questions for NerdChronic and go to Jeremy Miller. And I guess this can go for both of you. What are you looking forward to most for season 9 of the Schmoedown?
You want to go first, Eric?
Yeah. I'll take that first. For me, the openness of it, because I know, we know that the faction stuff is going to be changed next year, and but it'll still be around in an aspect. It's kind of like a different like subsection of like how the show operates. But beyond that, like not resolving the faction stuff, but I do the one thing that Christian told me earlier in this year when he was talking about these changes was like the very like distinct like choice was that like even though there will be factions, though there will be like a roster at the beginning of the year, like the doors will be open for anyone to like still be able to play. So like this year, I love the show and I love the way we handled it this year. But I was there was like this kind of like sad cutoff at the draft. If you didn't get drafted, like that's it, like you're not in the show. But I do like that next year at any point, if someone shows that they have something worthwhile to see in the game, like they could just be called up and called in to play a match. Like they don't have to be in a faction, they have to be drafted, doesn't have to be for points. It could just be just a match just to play and like show that they can hang and like have a good time. So that's the most exciting thing. I'm happy to see it had come back, which is just that at any point we can see like new faces come in and just like shake up the league and just become like a new name that we know and love very quickly. So that decision I think is like a really, really great improvement on the show right now.
I love that. Just because I know there was plans for having people not part of the faction for 2020, and then COVID hit, and that kind of changed the plans. And it was pretty much only factions 2020 and only factions 2021. So hearing that it's going to be a little bit more open, that's exciting. Paige, for you, most thing you're looking forward to next year?
For me, honestly, playing in studio. I can't wait to like have that experience like under my belt, and like it'll be like. I mean, yeah, it's comfortable to play like in your own home, but like that's where like for me like where the Schmoedown shined a lot was playing like in the studio and stuff. So I think that will be really fun to have that atmosphere like with like your co-competitors like also in like the same room with you and stuff, and just like having the cameras on and stuff like that. Because I mean, win or lose like at home, afterwards you're like, now what do I do? Like, do I cry myself to sleep or do I just like party by myself? Like it'll be nice, like either win or lose after like in studio, you can be like, all right, I still have all these people around me I can go hang out with afterwards or something like that. But I think just like to have that vibe and the experience, I think the show like thrives off it a lot. And so like it'll be exciting. I mean, it's nice to be able to do it from your home, but like it'll be nice to also travel to sunny LA as well. So
And we'll speak it into existence, you playing Griffin Nooms in Boston.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing is that, Christian, if you're listening, we better get a Boston match, and I want 2.0 against Griffin in my home turf. Just throwing that out there. So
And
you guys all
John,
better bring your tomatoes to throw at him, though. Just saying.
John, do we have any patrons to come in and ask these lovely guest questions?
What we actually have is our dear, wonderful producer, one of the two great people that keep this show rolling, the wonderful Sean Berto, who's going to be joining us here on screen. There he is.
There's like there's 6 of us now. So I have a question. So for Paige, my question for you is a 2-parter. What is your favorite question that you were asked this season that you got right? And also, what is your favorite match that you watched? Your favorite match that you weren't a part in?
That I wasn't a part of?
Yes.
For me, my favorite... I'll go with the second question first. So the favorite match I watched this season that I wasn't a part of was definitely Ethan winning the belt, because I was there. So like that match, and it was like a very low score, like championship match that was like very like head to head the entire time, and the fact that like it was in person, like I got to meet my faction mates for the first time, like that was just very like surreal and like amazing to be part of that. And for favorite question, trying to think of like all the questions I've gotten. I mean, anything like Tarantino, like I got that in round 2 though. But for me, my favorite question I think was like one of the funnier ones was it was around 3, and I think it was about Kangaroo Jack.
Yes.
Because I'm just like, am I the only? Like, I didn't know other people knew about this movie. Like, I literally have it right here. I collect Blu-rays, not DVDs, but I was going through my.
Oh no!
Knocking everything over, guys. But like, I have the DVD. Like, so the fact that like I still have this now, I just have to get the Blu-ray for it. But it was that was like hilarious because I was like, oh my god, I didn't even. Like, I never thought that film would get asked about, ever. So the fact that it did, I was just like, yes.
What did she knock over?
And action.
Oh.
No.
But no, like, for me, like, any question, I mean, I think everyone knows by this point, like, yeah, I'm a huge Tarantino fan. So, like, when I got that, like, in a round 2, like, that was pretty fun to be able to, like, get those questions and ace every single one of them. Because damn, fucking sorry, I didn't mean to say
no curse.
Like Dan's nothing against Dan, but that 5-pointer in his match against Jeannine, I was like, you got to be kidding me! You got like, why can't that be my 5-pointer for my last match? Like, no, I don't even know what it was, on the rooftop or something nonsense. 90s movie, 2000s actually, because it was in 2000s. But
oh, it was how many years? But was the bride in a coma in Kill Bill? That's
that was his. Yeah.
That was his. I wish that was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conversely,
I think you're talking about gloriness right now that I think Griffin noobs.
I do want to say, like, I loved Jeannine's 5-pointer because
that's another great question.
Because I knew it
that match last night, and I was like.
It's funny. I knew it tangentially because of Kill Bill, because of David Carradine. I knew that his brother Robert Carradine was the dad in Lizzie McGuire. So I was like, as soon as he said his name, I was like, that's it. It's the McGuire movie.
And I didn't like put those two together. That like, yeah, those were kind of like 2 back to back, which is actually kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
That question was hilarious because I was like, dude, that was the only one that like came to my mind. I was like, is it the Lizzie McGuire movie? I was like, did that movie go to theaters?
Yeah. That was my thought too.
Like,
I was just like,
I play at home,
theatrically released.
Yeah, I was like, I play at home, but you know what? Like, I'm just gonna guess that. And I was literally laughing. Like, I always joke around. Like, I can kind of swear on this, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Like, I was watching it with my aunt, and I forget. We were like. I forget what match we were watching that match so early on, and I got a question right, and I was like, "S my D," like I got it right. And then she answered the Lizzie McGuire question before I did, which was a 5-pointer. And the fact that like out of my aunt's mouth, she was like, "Suck my dick," and I was just like, "What?" I was like, "What did you just say to me?" Like obviously she was just mocking me, but it was like hilarious to hear that from her. And I was like, the fact that you just answered that before me and knew it, I was like, "Damn, girl!" Like, it was hilarious. But
speaking of owning DVDs, I have the Lizzie McGuire movie on DVD.
Never seen it.
And now you can just like, you should post that. I bet you now it'd probably be worth big bucks because there was a Schmoedown question asked and Jeannine got it right. So I think you should actually ask her to sign it for you, because I know if I own that movie, next time I see her, I'm gonna be like, "Girl, please sign this for me."
Well, I'm pretty sure she'll be at Spectacular like you will, Paige, so you could potentially ask her there.
I gotta buy the movie, so Saul just send me it, and you're gonna be there though, right, girl? So we'll go up there together.
Unfortunately, no. I have a wedding to go to, so
I
was like,
send it to us and we'll get it signed for you.
I was like, my best friend's wedding, Schmoedown, and I was like, I gotta go to my best friend's wedding.
Do you though? You can just watch the movie My Best Friend's Wedding, and then just come to the Schmoedown.
So NerdChronic, my question for you is there a specific movie that you like when you looked at how it was edited and just like, oh yeah, this is like one of the things that I want to actually like strive to become as well? Like, was there a specific movie or a way another movie was edited that like kind of inspired you to be an editor?
Inspired me?
Or that you look at like, oh my God, that movie was edited so beautifully. Either way.
In particular, I mean, I've always, I mean, Edgar Wright in general, like his stuff is always so sharp. You know, like I think Shaun of the Dead, even Shaun of the Dead isn't like necessarily known for its editing, but the editing in it is like very sharp and like clever, and like just it fits the pacing and the motion of the movie so well. And like that carries into like, you know, Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is like just like
I'm watching Scott Pilgrim right now.
Yeah,
it's like on in the background, but it's on.
Yeah, it's incredibly well edited. Not in just terms of like, you know, like cutting and stuff like that, but just like the implementation of like the graphics and like the CGI and how everything works together. It's like almost unsettling. It's like stressful to think of like the meticulous like stuff that they had to do to like make it look as good as it does. And then you know, top of that, Baby Driver as well, like the stuff they did for Baby Driver is like so incredibly difficult to like to nail as far as like, you know, from conception to execution. And I haven't seen Last Night in Soho yet, but like just from the trailers and stuff like that, like I already appreciate a lot of like that and like how that works. And but just beyond his stuff, like recently in recent memory, Whiplash was, I think, a movie that is not something that you say that you point to as like a editing, you know, example, but like the stuff that they do in it fits the movie so well, and like in the movie I think is like carried a lot by the tension in the film, which is like then carried by the editing and carried by like, you know, the performances, and it all kind of like, you know, comes together to fit like to make the movie as good as it is. So those movies in general, like I kind of always point to, and I always like, you know, find something new to appreciate when I watch them, just because like it's masterful what they do. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy Last Night in Soho, like when you see it.
Yes, let me know how it is. I really want to see it. I love Edgar Wright.
Same here.
So.
Yeah, same here. I want to see it too.
I had to pick between what horror movie I was going to watch, and I decided Last Night in Soho. So when I see it, I'll let you guys know as a super scaredy cat. Very much a scaredy cat.
Well, I'm going to dip out, but before I do NerdChronic, I just wanted to say that the reason the Schmoedown is where it's at is partially because of you and your promos. I don't think the league would be anywhere close to where it is without you. So it's sad that you're not going to be a part of it, but you deserve to take all the time off you need, because you're a very talented man. I've seen your work in other areas as well. You're the best, and I hope that you have great success in all your other endeavors. But the Schmoedown is going to be lesser for it, but that's okay, because you added so much to it that you deserve to step away from it. And Paige, you are one of the best rookies of all time, and the fact that you beat Ben was a plus, and I don't see any reason why you will not be nominated for Rookie of the Year. And I'll be glad to say hi to you at Spectacular, because I will be there. So I look forward to seeing that. But just don't have any Boston Red Sox stuff on, though.
We'll see what happens.
I'll send you the hat. I'll send you the hat.
Yes, so I was gonna send it for me, and I'm gonna rub it in all of you guys' faces just for the heads up. So
I will also say, as the person who is responsible for running this show, I have been urged to keep people who come in questions to one. So the fact, Sean, that you came in with 2 questions and also 2 comments means, unfortunately, you are banned from ever speaking on the show again. I'm afraid. You know, I have to be consistent. The fans will come for me. The fans will come for me if I don't do this. You know they will.
But Maria keeps him in line, so she will.
I am not banned. I do what I want.
this man can do what he wants.
Gang, listen. Y'all saw me with the captain's hat. You know I try to run this ship. You know what I try to do. But you know, one thing I can't do is be as good at the Schmoedown as Paige is. Paige, you have been absolutely on fire this season. We're sad to see that your season this year is over, but we're so glad knowing that we will be seeing you again, and that you're going to be tearing it up again sooner rather than later. And we also just wanted to thank you for spending a bunch of your Saturday with us. We're always very appreciative to have you on, and we wanted to know right off the bat, obviously, you plugged the bite-sized breakdown, excuse me. Is there anything else you would like to plug?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can check me on Instagram and Twitter at Front Page News 9. I also run my own movie blog titled Feature Flicks. But yeah, guys, don't miss me too much. I'll be back fiery than ever. Like I said, it stinks I went out the way I did, but it didn't discourage me. It motivated me. So I'll see you all very, very soon. And big, huge thank you and love and respect for my man NerdChronic right next to me, because this man just makes everyone look so much better than what we truly are at the end of the day. So literally, just thank you for everything you've done, and I can't wait to see you in LA in a couple of weeks. So
Yes.
we're gonna go play arcade games again.
Yeah.
And a fun fact: this man is a freak of nature at arcade games. So I thought I was decent until I saw this man. So
Hell yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much, Paige. We'll be so excited to see you again soon, and you have a lovely rest of your evening.
thank you guys. Much love,
Paige.
and I'll be back.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it.
Make burgers great again. Oh,
Bugs, you don't live in America. You don't know.
oh that's a great hat.
No, we've had so much trauma with the hats. Every single company had their version of the red hat.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
God bless Paige Frabetti, of course.
Although some did blue hats with that slogan to be like, no, this is not the red hat.
There was a point where I had thought of making myself a green hat that just said "Make Hats," and just keeping it as simple as that. Because I was like, see, that's like the most neutral I can get. Also, shout outs to the sidebar. I'm seeing Drunken Prayer. I'm seeing Jeremy Miller. I'm seeing a whole bunch of people. I saw Ambling Soul earlier as well. CB as well. I also just want to shout out to 2 comments from, first off, Maria. Sure, you don't need to worry, Mr. B. We appreciate you, Maria. And then also from Sean Wingblade Bar, the great and powerful. I'm not that much of either, but I'll certainly take the compliment as I keep this train rolling. Because we're already at an hour 26. And gang, we still have 3 other matches to talk about, including a pay-per-view. So we're going to kind of, do a quick rapid fire on the specific round by round, and then we'll just go around the horn and everybody just talk about their general thoughts. Keep it nice and simple as I toss it over to the wonderful Boggs to break down the first of the 3. Brendan Meyer going up against the Barbarian.
Yeah, let's do it. So, obviously, big match for both. First round going 8-6 in the Barbarian's favor. He only question he missed was the bonus question. And obviously, had the lead going into round 2. Barbarian went first, landed on Robert Rodriguez, went perfect, did go multiple choice to once. Meyer went perfect in his round 2 on Festival Darlings. It was a bit of a hesitation in what to land or not, but stick or twist, but he did stick with it, done absolutely fine. And then round 3, Meyer with a slightly controversial, 2-point miss, the Muppets movie. I did feel so sorry for him as I was watching it, though. I was just give him the point, come on. But at the end of the day, it's not the actual title, so I do understand. But it was a bit of a rough rough thing to see. And then Barbarian gets his 2 and his 3, keeps up, and Brennan just didn't know his 5, the Keanu Reeves permanent record movie. So fantastic win, I thought, for the Barbarian, proving his worth, 2 back-to-back excellent wins. The Finstock boys now have 2 players in the semi-finals, a final place booked as well, which we'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, Barbarian's just proving more and more kind of I don't know. We don't have a most improved award as far as I'm aware, but like the way he's kind of skyrocketing, you did mention as well that his statistics have always been, high, and even in his losses. So yeah, the Finstock Exchange, I've just been so impressed with them this week in particular. And, now he's in the semi, and, you kind of can't rule against him. So I'll throw it to NerdChronic first. Overall thoughts on the match, Barbarian coming out on top.
I go the same thing. Like Craig's really, the Barbarian has really stepped up this year. Not enough to say that he had like a lackluster season last year, but with the way things shook out, just because of COVID and everything, he I don't think had an opportunity to shine the way he's doing now. Like this is now, I think, the Barbarian that everyone kind of was promising us last year. He has now hit full steam ahead on what he's doing. I mean, taking out Oyama and Brendan in this sense is just huge, honestly, because they those 2 players are champions in their own right in different divisions and stuff, but they have proven that they are forces to be reckoned with in this league. And so exactly, so Brendan missing his 5-pointer, I think, is again similar to what I said with Amaru and Mike. That just shows how far the Barbarian pushed him to get him to that point. And really, I think the Barbarian is just steamrolling this whole division right now. And I'm really happy that he's doing this. And it will be interesting if we somehow get this to be a exchange invitational by the end of it, and just having the exchange promise to go to spectacular and some one way or the other would be very, very interesting. It'd be good for their story of where they started with everyone kind of laughing at their draft. Now they're like locked in, have an easy path to spectacular potentially.
Right, as Gucci reminds us with every interview that he does.
And the
no,
way
great as well. I just want to
pronounce his dossier too.
I just want to ask Maria's question in the chat there before I throw it to the guys. Why wasn't Brennan given the benefit of the doubt thing?
So going with precedent within the year and like just the rule books, I think it's because he says the Muppets movie, I believe, correct, in plural, which is just, I think it's the fact that there is the newer movie that came out in 2014 or 13 or so. That movie is called just The Muppets. And the original movie, the first film, is called just The Muppet Movie. So I think benefit of the doubt just gets a little wonky there because you don't know, if he did know what he was talking about, he could have missed saying The Muppets Movie is very close to saying The Muppets, which is just what the name of the newer film is. So the fact that those movies are so closely similarly named, I think causes a little bit of friction there, trying to think of oh, he knew it, we can give it to him. It's not the same thing as saying the I'm trying to think of a comparable thing, but the same, but Muppets we had in Free For All, Muppets in Space, Muppets From Space, obviously that's a distinct thing, or the Muppets Treasure Island versus the Muppet Treasure Island. I think the fact that there's a more distinct phrasing in the title with Treasure Island, I think it shows okay, we know what they're talking about. Muppets, Muppet plural, singular, doesn't really make a difference towards the crux of what the title is, which is Treasure Island adaptation. But the Muppets versus the Muppet Movie, it does get a little wonky because you don't know exactly what he might have been thinking in his head.
Yeah, I agree with Maria. I didn't know about the newer title and how close it was. Great explanation. But John, please, your overall thoughts on the match.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll say also another kind of part of this is that Brendan was pretty specific. Yeah, no, I got that wrong. I think that's another thing. I think if Coy had stepped in as the manager to be no, specifically we want to challenge this under the auspices of benefit of the doubt, considering that there has been precedent that has gone both directions. That might have been a thing, but I think especially considering the end result of this match, where Brendan was oh yeah, so it didn't even matter. I think it was something that Brendan was just yeah, no, I'm not too concerned with this. If I got that wrong, just because I remember the movie wrong, I remembered it wrong. He's a classy individual, that Brendan Meyer, the kid. Tom Dagnino, I'm not always wild about him, but he did bring up a particularly good point, which is I think one thing that kind of not complicates, but I think dilutes sometimes the way that we think about the Barbarian, is that he has spent a lot of his career so far in Inner Geekdom, which is not really his division of choice. It was something that he kind of stepped up to do in the last season. So it is that kind of weird thing of oh yeah, a lot of what we've seen from him is in this division that isn't really his favorite, and he still did well in, but obviously was not ultra champion. But I mean, that's because it's just not his area of expertise. It's a whole thing, right? I think it's a little easy to forget, no, Barbarian stepped into this game to play in singles, and this is why. I think this is very much kind of more the statement match than he needed to really cement, no, not only am I a singles player, I'm a damn good one. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, I was fully on board with the Brendan Meyer train, and obviously he's still a good player. I'm not trying to be oh yeah, I was on the train and now I'm off. No, God, no. But I had thought that this was going to be the year where he was able to get that singles title match. Not this year, not the one, but I mean, he's playing too good to not be getting it at some point down the line. And I'm happy for Barbarian. I've bet against him a couple times, and I keep showing up to be a goddamn fool. And he won't make a fool of me again, I swear, unless he does. I don't know.
So please, last thoughts on the match.
One thing I love watching the Schmoedown is learning new things, and that I didn't know that Robert Rodriguez has a composer credit for Kill Bill Volume 2, so that was cool to learn. And I actually went on his IMDb, and he's composed for a lot of movies, and I was oh, I did not know that. That's cool to know now. I think too, with speaking on the benefit of the doubt rule, I like it better when they say it's wrong and then you have the competitor or the manager come in and be like, no, we want to enact this rule. I think that's the better way to go about it. And I've seen that they've been doing that recently in the Schmoedown, and I like that more. Instead of just being like, oh, no, you knew it, so we're going to give it to you. I think seeing competitors fight for the benefit of the doubt rule is more of what I would like to see. And if they don't do it, then they don't do it. And Barbarian has been telling us, he's like, this is my year. I'm running through this. Anyone who's doubting me, I'm going through it. And so he's just showing up. Like we were talking with Paige, she shot her shot. And she went as far as she did and did so well in her rookie season. Barbarian is shooting his shot, and he's going forward.
Yeah. So, John, let's go on to the next match.
Let's do it. We are starting out talking about Dan Murrell versus Jeannine the Machine. The third of 3 matches that I absolutely biffed my predictions on this week. Gang, I took some big swings, and Sol and I were joking. Technically, I took a big swing being the only person that predicted Dan Murrell to win this match, but turns out it was a swing and a miss for old pal John Barr. That's a 3 strikes because Jeannine came out with the W, which even as a person that bet against her, so happy to see because this was a hard-fought match. Round 1, couple different misses by Jeannine. Dan only missing the 1. The Jack Ryan, Shadow Reacher, Kiera Knightley. I don't know why I wrote all that out. I just made my job harder. But hey, 7-4 coming out of round 1 in favor of Dan. Both competitors went perfect, complete 8 out of 8 for their respective round 2s. Jeannine spinning off of ScarJo and getting rom-coms, whereas Merle spun and stuck with Scorsese. 15-12 coming out of round 2. And then round 3, both competitors actually got their 2-pointers, but then missed their 3-pointers. And so then it came down kind of to the 5-pointers. Jeannine was able to hit her Lizzie McGuire movie 5-pointer, which we already talked a little bit about earlier in the show, What I'm Film. And then also we talked about it earlier, that Kill Bill bride coma question, where Christian was saying he thought Dan was pulling a Bateman, which I knew better. I was like, no, this is something that Dan just straight up doesn't know. And it wound up being the fact that it wound up going 19-17 for Jeannine. Immediately happy, over the moon. And how can you not be for her? This was such a well-fought and well-earned victory for her. I'm very excited to see her going on to the finals. Yeah, I want to toss it on over to you, NerdChronic. What were kind of your thoughts overall on this match?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it with, Paige, but I will, echo that. I was looking forward to this because of, Jeannine. This is the farthest she's gone in the tournament. And so I'm really happy for her in that sense. And she really earned it. I think this is similar to what we're saying with the Barbarian. Like, this is really Jeannine's year and really showing, her true potential. I think this is what I feel she's had in her all along. And now she's just getting the opportunity to finally show it in that sense. Yeah, I mean, the 5-pointers in general, were, I think, great. I knew both of them, which was a lot of fun. And I really liked the Elizabeth McGuire one just because it's again, it's a movie out of left field you never think you'd probably hear about in the show. And then the Kill Bill one, I do every week with Video Drew on our channel, her channel. We do our Video Chronic pop culture quiz show where we just ask really minute IG level questions about individual films. And that was one of my questions that we had on there. It's not related because I know PJ has his own master list of questions. So I'm not in that sense, but just in the sense that I knew it because of that. And I was really proud of myself. I was like, okay, I watched this movie, because I love it, but also for the dedication of having that information in my head. So it's it paid off for this one instance to play at home and feel satisfied with that.
Absolutely. Sol, I will toss it on over to you. Again, also general thoughts on this match. I'm seeing this Brian Nussbaum question, comment, the dungeon is out of the faction race, but I mean, I'm trying to think about this because technically, I guess they are kind of out of it because obviously Finstock Exchange and the Mercs going up against each other in the team's title match. So one of those factions is guaranteed to wind up with more points than them. So I guess even if Robert Parker beats Mike Kalinowski, which is a possibility, the fact that they're not in contention for Star Wars or teams or singles kind of takes them out, which is surprising because, again, while they did not take on the label themselves, obviously a lot of people were looking at the dungeon as the faction to beat. going into this year. So kind of what are your thoughts on not just this match, but the season that the Dungeon had as a whole?
It's kind of like the Finstock exchange last year, where they were touted as, oh, you got to keep the 4 title people, like pretty much, and you got to keep those four like champions, and they were like, they're gonna win, they're gonna run through, and then corruption came through and was just like, nope, not happening. And so I feel it's kind of, you're seeing that this year, kind of with Dungeon and with now Finstock Exchange being more of like the corruption of, I have a feeling that they're gonna whittle their way to the top. Corruption has a chance to be at the top as well. Quirky Mercs has a chance to be at the top. So it's very interesting who's going to end up at the top. But right now, prediction-wise, I think it might be Finstock Exchange, just how well they've been doing and that they have the most wins if you don't look at points-wise, and they're just playing lights out. And possible Finstock Exchange Invitational. So that's going to be super interesting to see how that plays out with the singles final. But going to the match, I kind of like that Jeannine played aggressively in round 2, because she got Scarlett Johansson, and you can kind of see like, oh, that's an okay slice for her. But she's like, no, I'm playing Dan Murrell, and I need to go 8 for 8. And so she went slice hunting, and it worked out for her this time. And I kind of like that, like, I'm going to go balls to the wall. I'm going to go for my slice that I want. And the luck played on her side, and it was cool just to be like, yes, she got rom-com. She went 8 for 8. And to kind of like Jeannine, I started watching the Schmoedown because of Dan Murrell, like going from watching him in movie fights and then be like, oh, he's double belted? What does that mean? Let me go check out this thing called the Schmoedown. And so to see him not do well in round 3 is very shocking. It's a shocking thing for anyone who's a Schmoedown fan, be like, you missed your 3-pointer and your 5-pointer? What is this? But like we said before with Paige, that you can't answer every question right. And so it was just, I was so happy for Jeannine. Like, I love Jeannine so much, and just seeing that she's played so well and hasn't got the wins under her belt before this year, and seeing it now like playing for fruition for her this year, I'm so happy for her.
Absolutely. And hey, I'm still contending that her match versus Marisol was one of the best matches of the year.
Yes.
That'll certainly be on my ballot. But that brings us then to the 4th match that we're going to be talking about, which is the pay-per-view match. So, hey, gang, if you didn't watch that, you're going to want to go away. You're going to want to go, I love you, but go away. Go find a hole to hide in as we talk about a match that's going to have spoilers. That is being, of course, the team's tournament final match. King Arthur of the Finstock Exchange, aforementioned, going up against the press room of the Quirky Mercs, which I'm going over my notes. And yeah, it's the 2nd time this week that the Mercs and the Finstock Exchange directly faced off against each other. That is a heck of a rivalry that has formed in this latter half of the year. Bugs, break down this match for us.
Wow, 5 big rounds. I didn't get to mention anything about the previous match, but I'll say that sorry, you guys covered it. Just the start promo, I'd like to thank Christian for finally giving John Roker his match. You owe the Outlaw Nation an apology, Christian, for waiting so long. But we'll let you off. No, I'm just playing. But it did have a little cool edit at the start there. Yeah, just thoughts on that. Well, obviously, not sure about Christian's wig, but thoughts on that NerdChronic quick little kind of effect that they used in that in the kind of cutscene. Do you have any involvement in that at all, or was that a...
No, it's all them. So yeah, major props to them for how it's being handled right now. Because it's to get on the train with that. Yeah, it's about time John gets his match.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, going into this match, team's final. Yeah, and in the promo for this one, Gucci's talking about months ago that the Finstock Exchange will be there for the faction race, will be there for Rookie of the Year, for Singles Player of the Year, and I was kind of nodding along like, he's right. All these months ago, everyone laughed at him, as as NerdChronic mentioned before, and people didn't know who King Khan was. And look how they're collecting points, something like 32 wins. Like no one can catch up with them wins wise. But like how they are not going to win faction of the year is crazy to me. But yeah. But anyway, going into this match though, first round misses all round. Just as the first round's going though, I like how I don't know if Christian does it purposely, but he tends to go to Griffin Newman last, because he seems to always know the answer. Everyone's like, oh, I don't know, and he just pulls out the answer every time. So it's such a variety of different things as well. It's like, this guy is so good. Being an actor as well, like, you just think the guy knows his craft so much. It's just so impressive for me. And then going into the second round, they press room go first. Sorry, the Atlanta Musicals did hesitate at first, but they did go perfect and went multiple choice to once. King Arthur does the same, went multiple choice to once on their John Carpenter slice as well. They both bet. King Arthur betted 3 in round 3. Of course, press room betted 2. They still had the lead at that point, 24-21. Round 4, kind of a bit of a shift there, which actually impressed the press room by the sounds of it. The King Arthur did go perfect. Press room only getting 4, obviously creating even more of a gap, 34-25. And then going into round 5, Perri hit a 2, but unfortunately Josh missed his 3. But like I said, fantastic for King Arthur. Just Griffin Newman is so just damn impressive. Like, as a rookie, who he's beating, the form that he's in. He's so good. Like, I just feel, as soon as round 1 was progressing, I just felt like King Arthur were just not gonna let the press room win. Like, I just felt so confident in how King Arthur were playing. Like, there's just no way that the press room could have won that match. I know it's a weird thing to say, but just as it was progressing, they just seemed like they took control. Even though, obviously there were a lot of misses on each side from round 1, but then just going into round 4, they just seemed more locked in and more invested, and it just came to kind of fruition this match. I thought excellent all round from them. But I'll throw it to you, Sol, first. Thoughts on the match, and now King Arthur going too spectacular against Shazam.
Yeah, it was surprising to see Khan miss so much in round 1, because he has been playing so well this year. And I know that it got to his head too, and the fact that they were able to go away for round 2 and him and Griffey be able to speak to each other and be like, hey, that was the past, let's keep moving forward in this match. I think that's one of the good things about the digital age of the team matches, is that they do get to have those time away while the other team is answering their round 2 questions. Horowitz knows his musicals. That too, I was just like, damn, Horowitz, get it. With the musicals. And then they're playing, as I talked with Jeannine, she played aggressively in round 2 in her match this week. They played a little safe, betting only 2 instead of 3. With me, when someone bets 2, it's so interesting to me, because I'm like, if you bet 2, might as well bet 3. If you're on the fence, I think bet more 1. So it's always but that's the way I would play it, and I can't be like, they're a different person than me. And then round 4, man, press room, impressive. Their first time having a round 4 and getting all 10 correct. That was just absolutely impressive, and it makes sense that they're going to go and play it spectacular, because they're not playing like rookies. And Griffey has Horowitz' number. His beat him twice this year, and so I want to see that Battle of New York 3 between the two of them, and have them play again.
Yeah, and someone in the chat there mentioned that Griffey's Rookie of the Year, going 8-0 across singles and teams. Yeah, stellar for me. And as Gucci says, they weren't aiming for a TKO and they're still getting him. So so impressive. But I'll throw it to NerdChronic. Please, overall thoughts on the team's final.
I mean, Brian said, it's in the chat. It is impressive that at this point Griffin is wholly undefeated across 2 divisions and so many matches, which I think will be unprecedented, I believe, if he continues that streak by the end of the year. I don't think we've had someone win as many matches, go as far as he did without a single loss. Even Oyama and Collins lost in teams in their rookie seasons, blazing the way to the belt. So if he manages to do that, and if he manages to get this win and get win a tournament final in teams, and then win a tournament final, the singles final in the end, if he manages to make it all the way, I think that might be unprecedented too. I don't know if anyone's ever won 2 tournament finals in one season. Lots of stuff, lots of accolades, potentially in his future, he was able to pull it out. But in general, I mean, it was a tough match. It's because the press room, like you said, Boggs, just going into it, like it's King Arthur, just they were on fire, and you kind of felt it in the air that they were here for blood. Like the press room, as impressive as they've been, like they just felt maybe a little outclassed by how dedicated King Arthur was going into this. Not to like shame them or anything about what they know, what they can do, because what they have done is very impressive. Like Perri and Josh coming in, like getting to the finals in general, is like a very impressive thing to do. And I think it could have gone on a different day. They could maybe pulled out the win. Maybe it could have happened. Like definitely, as we know. But as it is now, with the exchange going to the teams championship for Spectacular, going against Shazam, like I really think that Shazam is going to have a cutout for them, because we're going to see. I mean, as we are now, like we're going to see Griffin no matter what, like play Bibbs twice, right? In teams and singles. So again, like he seems to have this guy. He's like double tapping like everyone that he's playing. Like Horowitz and then Bibbs. Like we'll see what happens. Like it's potential that he'll have that opportunity to get through the singles tournament and then into teams. If it happens though. But the thing is about Bibbs playing him, I think though in teams and singles, is that Horowitz is very like Bibbs in a sense. Like he is just a wealth of knowledge, it seems, and he definitely knows the strategy, I think, behind it at this point. But as we have seen, he is just like a powerhouse that seems compared to like who he's been playing. Like he just seems to have like this overwhelming like wave of knowledge coming at him. But I still think Bibbs is the one that can take him out in singles and in teams, because Bibbs has that in spades, but like years of Schmoedown experience behind him. So like I think Bibbs will be the toughest test, regardless of where he is, like coming up in the future. Like that is why I seriously think it's gonna like be potentially, in my opinion, like match of the year. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be happening, whether it's in singles or in singles.
Completely agree. Yeah, it seems like Bibbs is the one, just like stylistically almost, to face off against him. It's gonna be so interesting. But John, please, overall thoughts on the teams match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I very much agree with NerdChronic there. Like the two different Griffey Nooms versus William Bibbiani, like that's super just emblematic of like old school Schmoedown, like seasoned people going up against the new class of just like every year, like people who are just better and better at movie trivia getting at it in. That is going to be a wild sight to see. I mean, yeah, like the press room have been holding it down. I think again, like we're looking at like baby faces and like new teams of the year. I think both of those folks are going to make the cut, because it's just been like, I feel like both Josh and Perri are always like that sneaky good, similar to like what we were talking about with Nikki DeMalanza, where it's like, because they're not always like coming out like swinging every time, you're like, oh yeah, they're just kind of goofy, fun, like movie nerds like us having a good time. They just done stomped out their opponent. So I think it's been very fun to see their kind of rise. Again, I've been looking at my notes. I honestly don't know if I would put, as good as he is, I don't know if I would put Josh Horowitz now on my list of rookie of the year, just because we've had one rookie champion and 4 rookie contenders. And that's, again, excluding the possibility that Griffey winds up being a double contender and then perhaps double champ. Like there's a lot that's going on over here. And again, it's crazy to say, because Josh Horowitz is a very good player. Perri Nemiroff is consistently a good player. But oh boy, howdy Griffey Nooms. Boy, howdy Griffey Nooms. And also King Khan. I know he wound up losing his match against Lon Harris, but a guy that very much also deserves that rookie of the year conversation. Like this is just a match of like 4 great people that I feel like it's also nice to see people as great as like a Dan Murrell is, as great as an Ethan Irwin is. It's also always nice to be like, oh yeah, these are people up for contention who are like new. Like there's always something that's like fresh and refreshing, rather, being able to see that. So this was just a very fun time, and it was a blast to see. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that team's match. It was a very good time.
Sure. Can't wait for that match, against Shazam. They booked their 2 rookies booking in their place at Spectacular. But so do we have any more Discord questions for NerdChronic, please?
I believe we might have a patron as well.
Oh, yes, of course.
I think we do have a patron.
Yeah, let's do the patron.
Am I correct that we have the phenomenal FCL Star Wars champion, Brennan? Am I correct that we have Brennan here? Is it possible? It might not. Hold on. No. The answer is no.
We did.
But he was here for a second, and he's great, and that's the main thing.
Back to studying. It's all right.
Exactly. Yes, that's correct. I mean, if you want, we can talk about the fact that looking ahead at the matches that we have. First off, I guess we can start with the fact that obviously here on this show we do our predictions every single week, and I got trounced. I got a little bit stomped on, and honestly, at first I was kind of sad, but then I was like, honestly, going 1 for 4, returning to my streak of almost always being wrong, kind of means now that I have nothing left to lose. So there's no longer any predictions that are hard for me because I'm like, oh yeah, what am I gonna do? Lose harder? No, it's okay for me. But yeah, kind of looking ahead of these matches. I guess let's start with and producer Sean, if you want to come on. Soul, do you kind of want to break down what our rankings look like as far as how bad I've done and how good the rest of the crew has done?
Yeah. Poor John, he went back to only getting 1 right, and Boggs went from only getting 1 right to getting them all right. So I guess all is right with the world again.
I don't know if we're gonna have enough room to catch him. There's not a lot of matches left.
What a shame, John! What a shame! Just at the right time.
Just Boggs, take a nap. You don't need to pick anything. Just take a nap.
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Yeah, NerdChronic. John was at the beginning of the year not doing very well, and Boggs had an insurmountable lead, and then their luck swapped, and John was getting everything correct, and Boggs was only getting 1 a week, and so now he went from being like 20 ahead of us to only being like 5.
Are you guys keeping track of this? Is this for like a point something at the end of the year?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, currently, we have Mike with 37 points. John with 87 points, myself with 94, Sean with 95, and Boggs with 99.
Oof.
And it is important to note that Mike didn't start giving his picks until about halfway in the year.
That's true.
So technically, I am still the one that is in dead last.
Although Mike claims that he hasn't picked a single thing correct before he started, so I was just like, that can't be true. But okay, Mike.
Hey, I'll take not being dead last if Mike is that willing to take last place. I'll take it, right? It means I can't, I guess, fully shoot the moon. But hey, who knows? Let's talk about these 2 wonderful singles tournament matches that we have because we're in these semifinals. First off, we've been talking about it again, that clash of the old school versus new blood, Griffin, Nooms, and William Bibbiani. Boggs, since you're the big man around here, I'm going to make you pick first. You're now going to have to be the one. Test your luck. Who do you have winning this?
I mean, I would personally say guess first, John, so thanks for that. It's such a hard match. Like we're saying, that's such a good matchup. I do not know. I will say Bibbs. Not particularly sure why. Just a bit of a coin toss. Speaking to Bibbs this year a few times on the show, he's just so locked in this year, and just love the way he talks about the game, the intricacies. Just the little things like that. I think Newman does it. We haven't had a chance to speak to him yet, but off with the Finstock team. So I just love the way Bibbs does it, though. I think Bibbs is going to win the singles tournament, so I think I'm going to go Bibbs.
There we go. That's 1 vote for Bibbiani. Soul, who do you have?
I think because I was one of those at the beginning of the year, not because they were rookies, but I did make comments on the Finstock exchange on their the way that I'm losing English words. English is hard, but
do Spanish. It's fine.
But the way that they picked all of their players, and so I was saying I kind of want to eat my words a little bit from the beginning of the year. I want a Finstock exchange invitational, so I guess I'm giving previews for my next pick, but I'm gonna go with Griffin Nooms.
There we go. So we're 1-1 right now. NerdChronic, who do you think is going to win this match?
My head I think says Bibbs, and my heart I think says Griffin. I think Bibbs on paper has all the means to do it, to stop Griffin in his tracks here. But there's a part of me, again, the story maker part of me, I think wants to see Griffin do it, just because it would be insane. It would be insane for someone to continue and to finish 2 tournaments in one season. So I think for that novelty, I'm going to go with Griffin, just for, again, the potential that's there.
Fair enough. Yeah. So 2-1 in favor of the Finstock Exchange's Griffy Nooms. Sean, who do you have?
I think Griffin News is like we you guys were talking about before is potentially rookie of the year, and I think to nail that down, he'd have to get to spectacular in the singles division, and I think he's on his way to doing that. So I'm going to pick him over Bibbs. I think it's going to be a great match though, but I think if you believe in the dossier, you have to believe that that the Finstock Exchange knows exactly what they're doing this year, and they've come a long way. Like Bob was saying before, they're going to have the most wins. They already have the most knockouts. They potentially could have the least amount of losses as well, depending upon how everything shakes out. So, Griffey Nooms.
There we go. And then I'm going to also say Griffey Nooms. I think there's something to be said for the rookie magic. You know, I talk a lot about momentum here on this show, and I think if there's one person who's gotten it, it's the guy that's 8-0, right? That seems to make the most sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and say Griffey Nooms will take this. So the Boggs, you're much like me last week.
The only one picking Bibbs. Wow.
I know.
What is going on?
I was the only one who picked Dan last week, so you know
how
exactly
crazy is
how
that?
I feel now. That's how great this season has been. Is we're picking against the pre-established goats. It's wild.
It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Now we're gonna talk about a whole other match. And Sean, I'm gonna start with you on this one. We're talking about the Barbarian, also of the Finstock Exchange, going up against Jeannine the Machine. I want to know what your thoughts are and who you have winning this match.
Well, Barbarian friend to the show as well. I think this is his year, and I think last year, you guys mentioning it earlier, he wasn't his best showing, but I think this year he's really showing exactly what kind of competitor he really is. And John, like you mentioned before, he's more at home in singles than IG. And I just think Jeannine obviously has had a great run. I think her beating Dan is potentially the upset of the year. Not saying anything disparaging about Jeannine, but I think hardly anybody saw that coming.
Anybody beating Dan seems like an upset sometimes.
Yes, absolutely, especially under the circumstances. So, but with that being said, I think, again, if you believe in a dossier, I think the Finstock Exchange is on the roll right now, and the Barbarian's a great player. I think it's his time. It might be a Finstock Invitational in the finals, so I'm just going to go with that.
There we go. That's one vote for the Barbarian. I will say, yeah, I'm super happy to see Barbarian being able to gain this momentum in this division that he has called home and really make it his own. Whereas Jeannine has been a staple of this game for a while, and I'm so happy to see her gaining that momentum and get herself, once again, second time on the road to this belt this year. Well-deserved. Quite frankly, I'm making my prediction solely based on the fact that both of these competitors I have bet against on multiple occasions, and I have to make good. So I believe the person I've bet against the most often is Barbarian. So for that reason, I will vote for Barbarian this time around. And again, I'm already losing the most, so I literally can't lose harder. Bugs, you, however, are in the lead right now. Your picks are still high stakes. Who do you have?
So that is why you fail. But anyway, going on.
Wow.
Just joking. So I will say I'm going to go with the Barbarian. The way he's playing. As per, I didn't really get to comment on Jeannine against Murrell. So just thinking about that match, though, Jeannine did get 4 points in her first round. She had a good second round. She hit a 5-pointer. Dan did miss his 3 and his 5. That's a lot of points, kind of. So I think Dan more lost than Jeannine won. No disrespect there, it's just my opinion. And as opposed to the way Barbarian's playing, I'm just favoring Barbarian more, just based kind of on the recent matches. So I'll go for Barbarian.
There we go. Fair enough. Soul, who do you have winning?
If my prediction that I said earlier that the Finstock Exchange is going to have the most points by the end of the year, I have to pick Finstock Exchange. And like I said before, I want to eat my words a little bit from the beginning of the year, so I'm going with the Barbarian.
All right. We will see how much word eating, in fact, happens. But now we will toss it on over to you, NerdChronic, to round us out. Who do you have winning this match?
It's tough because I am fond of both of them, but I will say again, for the potential of what could happen out of this, I would like to see Jeannine like go all the way, because I think I would love to see Jeannine versus Marisol too as spectacular, and having like those two play for the title. I think like it's a win-win situation, honestly, as for what that could be. Really, I'm always in Jeannine's corner, since day one. So my vote's going to be Jeannine. Yeah, on that one.
There we go. And I see Justin is a square over there in the comments said actually a very similar thing to you. Of the 4 players left, Jeannine versus Marisol is the best spectacular story, and it would certainly be spectacular. But we'll, of course, see how that all shakes out when December 4th rolls around. Make sure you get your tickets or your digital tickets. Other than that, I guess that's probably about to do it over here for the show.
Hey guys, wait a second. Is that? There's somebody backstage that just popped in.
Did Paige? Brandon came back, right?
No, it's not him. It's, I believe, it's the Outlaw.
Knock knock. Hello.
Fuck!
What's
Who's
up,
there?
everybody? Well, you thought you could get away without me making a comment on this show about what happened here this week between the Outlaw and the commissioner, owner, chairman, Christian Harloff of the Schmoedown. Well, looks like the Outlaw Nation and the Outlaw, like the walls of Jericho, we sounded our trumpet long enough, and they have crumbled and fallen, and he has acquiesced that I will get a match. We don't know who I'm playing, but he has finally acquiesced that I will have a match, or he said most likely have a match, and it's happening. It's happening. Hashtag one last ride worked. Hashtag all my yelling worked. All y'all badgering him on social media worked. And Christian Harloff finally, once and for all, has heard the call from the fans to have the Outlaw have a match at Schmoedown Spectacular and retire my ass and get me out of here. I'm excited.
I think Chris is whatever personality Christian was when he came in with that giant wig. Is that Chris Harloff?
Chris Gaines Harloff. Yeah, exactly.
I think he was trying to hide in plain sight so John wouldn't recognize him. So John, really quick. So does that mean the march on his house, is that now called off? Should I call it off?
Well, it depends on who he picks for me to fight. If he picks some rodeo clown, then no, of course we're going to march on the house with the rodeo clown, honking his nose the whole time until he listens to us. But if it's a good match, if he picks the right player, or if somebody steps up, if somebody has the stones, you guys know the Schmoedown is built on the world of professional wrestling. And there's always that moment where the guy is out there or the woman is out there in the ring and says, I'll fight anybody in the back. Well, that's basically what this situation is. If Christian Harloff can either line me up an opponent, or an opponent has the stones to get into the ring to face the Outlaw in his retirement match, and the millions and millions of the fans in the Outlaw Nation, if they can handle that live and virtually, then great. Get in the ring. Get in it. Let's do this thing. I'm going to ride you like a wild horse, and I'm going to break you and put a saddle on you and finish. And I'll probably ride you out of the Schmoedown as I say goodbye into the sunset. That's what I'm saying.
One last ride. One last ride.
That's right.
Talking about that rodeo clown honking his nose. I mean, listen, everybody's got to have a side gig, and Mike Kalinowski just happens to have to do that for some extra money. You know, it happens. I'm kidding. He's great. He's great. But also, he's not.
He's got a match already, John.
Exactly.
He's busy. He's got to have a. What's he taking on? Parker, right? Is that who's he taking on?
Yeah.
Robert Parker.
Maybe.
Or who?
He might be
who's Robert
on...
Parker playing?
We don't know.
Well, Chandru is gate crushing, right? Apparently.
Chandru, that's right. I got a soft spot in my heart for that man. He knows how to heal it up right.
More than fair, yeah.
Guys are flossing on the show at one point. That was also fun.
I can still get it. I can still get it when I need to.
Who can make gifts? That needs to be a gift immediately.
Yeah, please. And NerdChronic, so great to see you, brother, man. I love you madly, Eric, and I appreciate and love what you've decided to do. I'm behind you 1,000%. All hat aside, I'm behind you 1,000%. And one of the biggest things that has helped the Outlaw achieve what he's achieved in the league has been your incredible promos, promoing the matches. I watch your promo before every one of my matches. The one you did for me personally, it gets me hyped up. It gets me in the right frame of mind. So every victory I've ever gotten, and unfortunately every loss, you have a piece of. So I love you madly, man, and I'm proud of you for taking the steps you need to take the step for yourself. So respect.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Obviously, I've said, publicly that John is like a big part of like me being involved in this because at my first live show, I went there like as a lot of people do now, which is I'm really proud about. Is like I went there on a whim, like I knew literally 0 people at the time. I just wanted to be a part of this thing and see it for myself live in person. And John was the first match that I saw with against JTE.
Yeah,
and he was the first person in the show that came up to me and spoke to me to ask me what I thought and my opinions on it, and that really meant a lot to me. So like that showed me, like it kind of guided me into what I wanted to do for subsequently for everyone else. Being part of this thing, I wanted to be that person as well to reach out and like make people feel comfortable and accepted in this thing. And I really appreciate you, John, for paving the way for me to do that.
Please, it was my honor and my joy. And just like America, the Schmoedown was built on the backs of Latinos. So give it up and give us some love to both of us for doing that, for God's sake. So, Eric, you're an essential part of what we built here over the last few seasons in the Schmoedown. Please, you are owed so much of that credit, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually
Vive
quit
la raza.
because
That's right.
I actually quit because Christian wouldn't give you the match. So now that you got it, I'll come back.
I will happily whoop that NerdChronic butt in my retirement match. You put it up there. I will happily spank that brown ass. I got no problem with that. Respect, brother. Respect.
Rick, a quick
You
thoughts
missed it
on
earlier. Paige was here. Paige was saying she'll show up with the whiteboard in the backpack and she'll take you on. Talk about somebody like with those stones willing to come out. Yeah. How do you feel about? Would that be a match you'd be open to?
Oh God, I'd love to play Paige. I love Paige, and I think the promos between both of us would be off the charts. I mean, I'm a pseudo New Yorker. She's a hardcore Boston person. So both of us going at it would be we would set the place on fire, melt the paint off the walls for sure. No doubt.
I was going to ask, Roker, thoughts on the Finstock exchange? Had an excellent week. 2 boys in the semi-final. Yeah. Obviously the King Arthur in the teams final. Potentially winning the faction race now. Just thoughts on how well they've done.
Well, nothing is fully complete yet. The goal has always been to win the faction title and to stand on the stage at Spectacular holding as many belts as possible in the Finstock exchange. So for everything we've done, all we've done is give ourselves an opportunity here to win possibly a singles title if everything works out over the next 2 to 3 matches, and possibly win a tag team title as well here in the at the Schmoedown Spectacular. So if that happens and we win the faction title, and I beat whoever I'm playing, then we've got ourselves a hell of a Finstock exchange night. And Boggs, I've noticed lately that the Facebook group and the managers and the players and social media has been really fucking silent about bashing us and coming after us and making jokes at our expenses. And I tell you this, the stupidest thing they ever did was laying on us on draft night, record their stupid stereo shows making fun of us. Those managers, that clown of a host of Rundown or whatever the hell it is over there, or backstage, whatever stupid name they got, those clowns made those stereo shows snickering and laughing, guffawing all the way. Well, who is standing? And you know why? Because we believed in ourselves. We had a plan from the beginning. And today I got a text from Craig reminding me that this time last year was when I texted him and said, don't you go anywhere. Don't you go anywhere. We're going to figure this thing out. I texted him and said, you stay with me. You stay with Finstock. We're going to put this thing together. And here we are a year later, possibly on the precipice of winning the tag team title, the singles title, and the faction title. Now, nothing has been decided. Nothing has been accomplished yet. We're just in a position. So we're not just happy being here. The drive is to achieve greatness. We lead by example. Finstock, JT, and I are champions multiple times. And so the guys behind us and Taylor behind us, they have been fantastic in getting everyone ready, stepping in to manage when they needed to manage, training everybody, and it's been incredible. It was a team effort. And all the shit they talked about us and all that bullshit that Marisol pushes with the boys club, which is an insult to Taylor Robinson, who has been a fantastic a part of and an essential part of us accomplishing all we accomplished. And Kim earlier in the year before work commitments kind of took her out of the faction. Everyone has been a part of making this happen, male and female. We ain't a fucking boys club. Plus, we've got a gay, one of the only gay competitors in the Schmoedown. So our faction is a diverse faction from all races, from all sexual orientations, and from all genders. And that matters, ladies and gentlemen. And so we've done it as a team, all right? And I'm proud of them, but all we've done is given ourselves an opportunity. We can't get cocky. We can't get too overconfident. We still have a job to do. And so I'm very proud of them, very happy to be one of the leaders of this faction, and hoping we are going to take that faction title and be standing there on the stage at the end when it's all said and done, and chanting the Finstock Exchange for everybody to see, and seeing and hearing the tears of all the managers and the players who made fun of us, and watching them eat the crow that I serve to each of them on a plate.
Ooh, how are we cooking the crow? Are we doing oven? I mean, because Thanksgiving's coming up. I need
Raw.
some cooking.
You gotta eat it raw on stage.
Yeah, some of them are gonna eat it raw, and I'm gonna watch them eat it raw. Other ones, I'll do a little fricasseeing, a little grilling, plucking out the feathers. You know the deal.
Put a little sazon on
It's only
it.
fair.
Yeah, a little exactly. Some black beans and rice. Bring it up, man. Come on.
Well, I'll give me in the front row. Please don't get any of that crow stuff. I don't want it.
I'm gonna do Gallagher on the front row with you. I'm just gonna hit a bunch of with a big hammer, man.
Oh goodness, we got threats coming on.
Yeah.
Well, goodness. I mean, thank you so much for joining us here on this Saturday evening. Of course, we're here on your channel. We wouldn't be talking about anything if it weren't for you. So we're always appreciative to have you here and showing us the ropes, the way that it really works around here. And yeah, obviously, I'm looking over here in the chats. We're seeing quite a few people saying, hey, if now that the Outlaw has his match, it's got to be Mance. I know a lot of people have been saying now that he's out of the tournament, it's obviously Dan Murrell.
That could be interesting. Okay.
It could be. I'm curious. Yeah, where does your mind go to? Do you dare dream, or do you just go, I'm just going to show up, and then I'm just going to have to put somebody's head in between my boot and a curb?
Oh, Jesus.
Lord.
You were the one talking about Gallaghering poor Sean's head.
Easy, Johnny. Calm down, man. It's a family show. What I'm saying is that I open the door to whoever it can be. And you say, do I dare to dream? My whole life has been daring to dream and seeing those dreams come true for the most part. And so for me, of course, I dream to play some of the best. So could it be maybe even Ethan Irwin or Dan Murrell or Paige Frabetti or Scott Mance? If they can drag Scott Mance's old bones in here, I'll happily play him again for a third time. I love my brother, and I would love to get on the stage with him, because me and him going back and forth, that I don't know, the match would be 6 hours long, for God's sakes. We'd have to take a whole half a day to do that match with all the talking that me and him do. So to me, I trust that the commissioner is going to do the right thing. Taking the hat off, we've been friends for over 20 years. We've been up and down the road together. So I imagine he's going to find the right opponent for me. I don't know about Dan. 13 matches in one calendar year, or 11, 12, 13 matches. That's a lot to ask of one person to do one more match with me. But who knows? And as I said, Ethan, Paul Oyama, I think might be a possibility. Hell, someone in my faction could be a possibility. Maybe whoever loses out on the single side of things may want to have a fun go at me as well. So you just never know. Either way, I'm looking to put on a great show for the fans. I'm looking to have a great time with them. And I hope to God they all show up. The Outlaw sells out places. I put butts in seats. That's what I do. So if you haven't got your ticket to Schmoedown Spectacular, get your ticket and come. I will be at a table before the show starts. I'll be selling merch. I'll be taking pictures. I'll be signing stuff. It's my last match. I'm retiring. If you've ever loved the Outlaw, if you've ever wanted to have time with the Outlaw, this is the time. After that night, I just become John Roca. And that's the truth. So if you want a last ride with me, show up. Schmoedown Spectacular, December 4th. Remember, show the hell up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say I certainly can't abide referring to you as just John Roca, because even when you're out of this game, you're still going to be a monolith here in this this movie space that we call home.
Fair.
That said, I also I always like to call myself out. I've been monopolizing a lot of the conversation, so I want to toss on over to our wonderful panel, Boggs, Soul, the incredible NerdChronic. What else would y'all like to ask Mr. Roca here as well?
Please, ladies
I'm
first.
gonna bask in the greatness of John the Outlaw Roca, and that he got his match. And so show up because it's gonna be one last ride. It's gonna be so awesome. I'm putting this on you, John. So now you have to do absolutely incredible, because I expect it of you.
Absolutely. The training starts tomorrow. We're talking 8 to 12 hours a day. Did you like the trailer reactions and the reviews I was doing? Don't get used to seeing them for the month of December and November. I'm going to be so focused on training and getting ready. I want to be the most prepared I've ever been. If I lose, I lose, but I don't want to lose with any excuses. I'm going to give it everything I got. Like Adrian told Rocky, if you lose, you lose, but at least you lose with no excuses. And I know you can live with that. And that's the truth on my end. I'm going to study so hard and try to learn as much as I can, because you never know what Dan or Ethan or Snyder or Mance or anybody they line me up with is going to throw on the wheel. Paige Frabetti might throw something. You just never know what they're going to throw on the wheel. So I've got to be prepared.
All Boston movies.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And if I know Harloff, he's probably mad that I forced him into this position. So he's not going to even tell me my opponent until like a week before the spectacular. I put money on it. So he's going to try to mess with me in that way. So I've got to be prepared for all the categories, because you never know who it might be.
Four of the slices are just the town.
I mean, look, Griffin and Bibbs are playing. If Bibbs loses to Griffin, Bibbs may want a shot at me for old time's sake. So you just never know. You never know.
Yeah, that's two quick questions, right before we get to NerdChronic. Yeah. Number one, obviously, a lot of people won't be going in your corner, as in they'll be going to want to see you lose.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
So that's hope that's an extra incentive to kind of shove it in their face as you ride off. And yeah, secondly, would you ever consider like an exhibition match, like as opposed to a regular 3-rounder, a Rocky match? I know you played an exhibition match with Rocky before, but any specific thing, like let's say like a Star Wars match, for example, something random or just a regular 3-rounder.
Something that's come up recently is that Jason Inman has tried to claim that he's a Westerns fan as well. So a little toe-to-toe with Jason Inman in the Westerns category, I think would be a lot of fun for sure. And maybe even throw in Bibbiani as a third, because Bibbiani wrote that article for Collider.com talking about the top 20 Westerns. Those idiots didn't even ask me to write a column. Let's not forget that I'm the outlaw and used to work for them. They asked Bibbiani, of all people, to write it. He's never ridden a horse. He's a fake horse. That one time he made us come out in those stupid fake horses. I love Bibbs, by the way. But I'm just saying that was an embarrassing day for the outlaw. So I would love to take on Jason and Bibbs in a Westerns match. I've always wanted to take on Mance and Inman, and I think Levine in a Star Trek match. That would be awesome to take them on an exhibition Star Trek match. There was supposed to be a Rocky match. We just with everything going on in my time, there was not time to play that match. I willingly gave up the belt, but then they decided to cancel the match. So I'm still the Rocky champion until there is a match. And I know that angers Ryan Nilsson there in Philadelphia. He was desperate to have that match this year. So that's all I can say.
I will be fair here. Julia Roberts exhibition match. If you're part of the Patreon, you would know this comment.
Yes, a quiet strength of mine. That's for sure. Who knew? Who knew? I had no idea. Yeah, I'd be down with that. But yeah, so some people are going to come wanting me to lose. I think we know what army they're in. They're going to be in there wanting me to lose, and nothing makes me happier. I've made those people shut up more than anything else in the world every single time. And so it's a joy for me to handle my business and fight. All I'm there to do is enjoy my last time being up on that stage. If other people want to be bitter and angry and petty and hate on Roca or hate on the outlaw, that's all you'll have to explain that to your creator someday. I'm just focused on having fun and bringing the best show I can as the outlaw in my one last ride in the game, and 7 seasons is more than enough. I got to go rest. I got to go sit out on the ranch, put the feet up, birth some new cows and some new chickens, and take care of business on the ranch, for God's sakes. So, I'm tired is what I'm saying. So one more match, and then I'm getting the hell on out of here. And, look, I think my year's been a pretty damn good year. I started out with 3 TKOs. I missed a couple questions in the Ben and Dan match that really sucked, and I cost us that match. I'll take that hit. But, Ben and I went, 4 or 5 rounds of sudden death. I can't be ashamed of that. And I answered every question correctly that I was asked in our match against Final Exam. So there's only so much I could do, and I did as much as I could, and then willingly stepped aside so that other people can get in this tournament, both tag team and singles. And look, our faction is there. at the end, or almost to the end on the single side, but certainly at the end on the tag team side, and that's incredible. So for me, everything seems to have worked out perfectly for us, and it's been a fantastic year, and I love the exchange. So I'd like to bask in the glow of a victory in honor of them as well, if I can get the job done on December 4th.
Well said, boss. NerdChronic, please, anything you want to say to the Outlaw?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great to see.
This is correct. This is correct. This is absolutely correct. Go ahead.
It'll be great to see you, John, one more time at Spectacular. Obviously, in a competitive standpoint, and like you said, I think the story of how this year has progressed was great, because like you started out strong. Obviously, you and JTE kicked ass in the teams tournament as well. And so like you guys came out like guns blazing, but then in this latter half, it's appropriate for kind of what I was telling Paige, is that it's good if, in the sense that I'm also stepping away as well. The most comfortable thing to see is like the future, coming after you, and like knowing that you played your role and like you had a hand in like shaping that. And I think you did, John. Obviously not for the exchange in general, but for the show in general. Like you. Obviously, I made a whole documentary about you, like how you did that, and it was about how you influenced like so many people in the show, and me included, and standing at Spectacular, I get it with like Griffin and Con already locked in to be there in a competitive standpoint. It's going to be nice. I think it's going to be like a really beautiful send off for you, and like personally for me as well, just to see that the show is in good hands with like the people who are coming in and taking up the mantle, so to speak, as far as where this thing will go next.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny you say that. I think as you're talking, Eric, I feel like I can say I will dedicate the match to you, my man, to everything you've done for us, to being such an incredible part of this game. If we're both getting on out of here, then I couldn't think of a better person to dedicate the match to than you, man. So you'll get my best effort, brother, man. So just know that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if I lose, it'll be your fault. So just take that on.
Gallagher came back out again there.
But I love you. So there you go. That's what I'll say.
And that was John Roca speaking, but the Outlaw was like, "No, I need to come out."
It's like Malignant. It's just like
just pop it up. But no, it'll be great, and it'll be great to be for the fans. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
John,
so John, win, lose, draw, whatever. I just want to say, I know that you're going to put on a hell of a show. I know the match is going to be super competitive no matter who you face.
Yeah.
And no matter the outcome, you're cemented in the pantheon of the Schmoedown forever, regardless of what happens. This match will not define your legacy. Your legacy is already written in stone as one of the greats. It shouldn't be called Route Schmoedown. It should be like Roca's the Schmoedown with Roca, because there's no way you're not on everyone's Mount Rushmore because of how you've played this game, the titles you've won, the character of the Outlaw. Like for me personally, I wouldn't have watched the Schmoedown if it wasn't for you when you fought Scott Mance and the back and forth you guys used to have. That's what got me into the Schmoedown. I got it. Once I was hooked when I saw you guys' first match. So when they write the legacy of the Schmoedown, they can't write it without you. So regardless of what the Spectacular brings, the Outlaw is the Schmoedown as much as anybody else, as much as it is Christian Holoff, as much as Mark Ellis and everybody else who's been a part of it, future, past, present. The Outlaw is the Schmoedown. So I know you're going to put on a hell of a match. I'm going to be cheering you on, but just know that regardless of the outcome, you are the man and you're the Outlaw.
Well, it's very kind. Thank you very much, Sean. And I appreciate you saying that. Obviously, as the Outlaw, I think I am the pillar that this is all based on. As John Roca, there have been a lot of great competitors through the years who have helped build this thing with me. And so I give all respect to them as well, but it's very kind of you to say that, my man. And there are probably a few people who don't have me on the Rushmore list.
I want to shout out Drunken Prayer on the side saying, again with the onions, well, whoever is doing that, stop cutting them. So you're giving tears to
Oh my gosh. And those are big tears. Those are Scottish tears, so those are bigger than usual.
He's crying into his Scottish beer, probably.
Into his Celt. All right, what else you got for me?
I mean, that's kind of the question. I mean, I think we're staring at right now, tail end of the year, obviously, with more and more Finstock Exchange people stepping up to be a part of this big event at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And notably, specifically, a lot of Finstock Exchange people kind of being in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. So I kind of wanted to ask you, we got a couple different awards that we're all trying to now scramble to be like, all right, who's our 5 and then who's our 1?
Right.
But especially considering that Rookie of the Year is something that it seems like the Finstock Exchange built a lot of the faction around, is having multiple contenders for that in multiple divisions.
Yeah.
Kind of who's on your short list at the moment?
Well, I don't think you can't. I don't know how you don't start with Griffin Newman and what he's been able to do here from the beginning, really giving you a window and a preview of his abilities in the free-for-all, and then him taking Khan, a young kid like Khan, and all of us training Khan and Khan coming in with the confidence. Griffin knows his movies. Obviously, he was just profiled in the New York Times, I think, or the New York or something like that. And so he's got an incredible knowledge of movies. But, in the Schmoedown, you just never know what's going to pop up. And to see what he's been able to do is incredible. Yeah, Thomas Harper, people can talk about Harper. I suppose that's fair. He won the belt and whatever. But like what Griffin Newman has been able to do in 2 divisions, tag teams and in singles, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, he's in the semifinals. Right? Is that right? He's in the semis, right? Against Bibb.
Yeah.
So, we got so many of them. I just forget sometimes. But that's been incredible to see him do this consistently. And I know people want to crow about the Star Wars division. I respect that. It's a division. That's fair. It's 10 movies, and I know they go bone deep with what color was Leia wearing at 1:44 and 36 seconds of the movie. I get it. It's tough. It's very deep. But thousands and thousands and thousands of movies are in contention in singles and tag teams, and you never know what's going to come up. And some of the questions, the way they've built them and wrote them in the tail half of the year, have been incredible tongue twisters or brain twisters to try to figure out and come to the conclusion. It's asked even more of the competitors. So to see someone like Griffin Newman being contention here, how can you not consider him for Rookie of the Year? I think if Khan had a run through the singles tournament, coupled with the tag team, we might be looking at co-rookies of the year going at it in the singles and trying to win the tag team belt. So that's been great to see on our side for sure. And Gold Leader has been stellar on the Star Wars side, twice getting to the finals of tournaments to get a shot at that belt, unfortunately falling short both times. But getting there is no easy task, and beating some of the veterans, some of the stalwarts of the Star Wars division, the way he has to get in those positions, it has been incredible. So to me, all around, Moose played well, and Ranger Rick Radis, Brother Lomas, both incredible characters doing the things that they did. So we had a great stable of rookies. We've become a family. We all care for each other and cheer for each other. We all live and die with each other's performances and matches. So for me, though, it's Griffin Newman right now in my mind, but I know a lot of people are going to try to push for Harper because he actually won that belt. But if Griffin Newman achieves the incredible, just like Collins, runs through that tournament and wins the belt as a rookie, then I think he wins Rookie of the Year hands down over Harper, in my opinion.
I think that's fair. I think there are a lot of
We
people
also
that are
have
definitely-
Nikki. I was going to say, we also have Nikki DeMolanta as possible. She could beat Harper at the end of the year.
Absolutely. That's a fair point. If Nikki DeMolanta takes care of business there against Harper, that's certainly possible too. Yeah, it's a great point, Sol. And I totally forgot about Nikki, who I love to pieces and who sang the Finstock Exchange song last year. So shout out to her. She's been incredible and taking out my boy Gold Leader the way she did. Man, it was pretty shocking. So
I
Let's
just wanted
break
to-
up before you.
Oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Bug. No. By all means, you, buddy.
I was just going to say the creme de la creme, the singles title.
Yeah.
You've won it twice, of course.
Yeah.
Who do you think at the end of Spectacular, the last match of Spectacular, whatever, who do you think we'll see. Who do you think will be the singles champion at the end of the year?
I can't answer that question. I would love to answer that question, Boggs, but I can't because, look, yes, as the Outlaw, it's going to be either Griffin or Craig, absolutely. But as John Roca, the fan of the show and a person of color, it's been incredible to see what Marisol has accomplished. If you go back and find the old backstage episodes where I was on, I said that she had the potential to be a champion, that she was a driven person who was humble about the game, but confident in her abilities. And that's the combo you need to be successful. The game has karma, ladies and gentlemen. The game has karma. If you don't respect the game, if you mess around with the game, if you mess around with the people in the game, it bites you in the ass. Marisol has been great being the character that she's played. And then the way she's played, the way she's upped her game this year, I would say she's eclipsed Collins. She defended the belt. And that's at a live event. That's an incredible thing to do. So against Chance, no slouch, So to me, I think she's been phenomenal. So to cheer for anybody against a woman of color, finally having another person of color next to me on the dais of singles champions, I couldn't do that. So I will say this, especially because it's two white men in Griffin and Craig, but I will say this. I cheer Craig and Griffin on, and if they're the ones standing at the end as the outlaw, it'll be one of them. As John Roca, I hope one of them is in the match, and whatever the result is whatever the result is. It's just going to be awesome to see. I know that for sure. Craig or Griffin, because they've both been laser focused in the singles tournament.
That's the wonderful thing about this past year and what we've been seeing in the singles tournament is that there's really no wrong answer with who you'd want to say, which is it's a beautiful thing. It's why we love the game, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll see if Jeannine, that could be an interesting rematch as well, right? Because that match went all the way to the end. There were tears all around in that match. So there was a lot of emotion in that match. So it could be a repeat of that at Spectacular, which would be a lot of fun to see as well. I would love that. Two women of color going at it for the belt. Holy shit. I'd be front row for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, Brendan. 12 Star Wars movies. I apologize.
Well, gang, we've been going for a hearty 2.5 hours. We're about the length of Endgame, which we're talking about Thanos at the farm. We're talking about gathering up the stones. It's only right that with you here, we give you a huge chunk of time to say your piece, do your due diligence because it's more than earned.
Before I go, John, one last thing. Each of you, real quick. Who do you want to see me play to influence Christian Harloff? John?
I'm going to be basic. I'm going to go Dan Murrell.
All right, Boggs?
Merle or Snyder?
Oh, Snyder. That's son of a bitch.
After today, I kind of want to see you play Paige.
Maybe if they don't put Paige in the ring with me, maybe Paige is willing to be a sparring partner for me to get me ready. I'm down with that. NerdChronic, Eric, what do you got?
Like I said before, I would definitely say Dan. I know I won't be handling it, but I think that would be like my promo to NL promos if that was your final match. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Dan. Sean Barreto.
Just like NerdChronic brought up earlier, if you play Dan, it's a rubber match. So how could you not want that?
You know what? I'll make things spicy. I'll add in a different name. Just because he had a very combative intro to a match once upon a time where he mocked you and your mask. So I'm going to say Greg Idris Alba. Just to be spicy. Just to add a little variety.
That fool is too busy trying to get to 1 million subscribers. He don't have time for me. He's hosting a trailer event for the drop of Spider-Man No Way Home on Tuesday. He's got.
Is he hosting that? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Regal awesome. Sherman Oaks. Yeah. All right, that's what I wanted to say. I got to get out of here. You guys finish off the show. Thank you very much. We're having an early Thanksgiving dinner with some friends here. So thank you very much for having me on, for letting me come on and say my piece. I love you all. Thank you for being a part of this. And I love all of you guys who are watching there in the Outlaw Nation who cheer me on. The bitter ones, the petty ones, I love you too because you've given me the haters' tears that I've needed to be motivated to win. So keep being you. But to all the fans and people who followed me, hey, this is the last few days of the Outlaw. So it's been an awesome ride, and I can't wait to see you all on December 4th. Buy your tickets. All right.
There we
Peace.
go. Buy those
Thank you,
tickets.
guys.
Love you, John.
Love you guys.
Thanks, boss.
Have a good one, sir. Oh, what a gem. What a brilliant man. And what a great channel that we're able to be here on and host this show. Sean just unceremoniously drops himself. Fair enough, buddy. Fair enough. I guess he doesn't have anything to plug. That's more than fair. So I want to bounce on over to our guest who has been hanging with us for 2.5 hours now. My goodness. I don't even expect this of Bugs and Soul. This is too much to ask of any person. So the fact that you are willing to be here talking through all this with us, man, we super appreciate it. We're so glad to have you here. as just one of us fans, someone with a lot of great insights, who's always down to talk Schmoedown with us. We really appreciate you, dude. And I want to ask, is there anything you would like to plug for the people at home to check out?
Yeah, you can find me at NerdChronic across all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Also editing for not the Schmoedown at the moment, but for our friends and around the community, around the space. So yeah, for the remainder of the year, I'll be just taking it easy, like relaxing. But I also still do my weekly show with Video Drew on her channel, Video Chronic Pop Culture Quiz, where we just do 20 trivia questions about one individual movie at a time, like deep delve kind of IG level questions. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely check those out. We will be doing, we just did, what we did, The Frighteners this past Thursday. Nice. To Starship Troopers before that. So we're just kind of going through movies. We'll be, I think once we get into December, we'll start doing holiday movies. So, obviously that gets up the festivities. So it's a lot of fun.
There we go. Hell yeah. Check that out over on Video Drew's YouTube channel. Soul, is there anything you would like to plug?
Yes, go check over on Pop Culture Universe on YouTube. Bog, Sean, and I just did an Eternals review, so go check that out.
Oh, there we go. How about that? Check it out. Boggs, would you also like to plug? Pop Culture Universe. I'm getting my words mixed up.
Yeah, it's getting late. We've been here ages, but no, not obviously. Yeah, Pop Culture Universe. Trailers, reviews, reactions, all that good stuff. Just want to thank NerdChronic so much, man, for coming on. Came on like 3 times this year, and all the good work you've done and everything. So enjoy your rest, man. And yeah, we need to do a Ultimate Shriner after show. Us playing on your guys' show there. So that'd be cool. We pick a movie.
Yeah, pick a movie and we'll make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
A big fat Greek wedding.
G-Force.
Yeah. Right.
Coming to America.
Oh,
you already lost to that, Sean.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, because I think we've all won exhibition matches. Like Soul's won Big Fat Greek Wedding exhibition match. I think Sean has one. I've won Karate Kid exhibition match. So yeah, I think
that's
quite good at these one-off matches, right?
Sean hasn't played
plugging
yet.
the Patreon.
Yeah, Sean hasn't played yet. He's supposed to play Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Well, all that matters is that all 4 of us are definitely winners. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, patreon.com/John Roca. I've plugged it before and I'll plug it again. Go check that out. I've plugged all my own social media handles a bunch of times. You can even see 2 of them down below. So I'm just going to say, hey, check out the Flick and Reel live stream that old Jesse Swift is doing tonight. I'm going to be popping on that. Even after doing a 2.5-hour show here, I'm going to have to go, jump up and down a bunch of times and get ready for that. But that'll be a good fun time. So check that out in about an hour and like 20 minutes. Oh boy, I'm going to have a late night. But hey, thank you so much for spending so much of your night or day, depending on where you are, with us here talking about Schmoedown. We'll be so excited to be back here next week talking about some great matches. Until then, have a lovely rest of your weekend. Oh, Soul, check it out. I did finally get shelves. We were talking about this last week. I finally own shelves. I've been living in
so proud of
squalor